This podcast is a member of the Place to Be Nation family. Visit us at placetobenation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.
From north, south, east, and west, North America, Japan, and back again, this is your home for modern-day wrestling, with the occasional trip back in time. It's Place to Be Nation's main event. Now let's head into Studio B with your host, Scott Criscolo, and the Godfather, Nate Milton.
Place to Be Nation! We're here. We have finally gotten the end of the line. Welcome to your home for everything modern day wrestling, here, there, and fucking everywhere. Place to Be Nation's main event. I'm your co-host, Scott Criscolo. Yes, we have finally arrived. No more extra pay-per-views. No more shitty TV shows. No more crappy Twitter. No more garbage from fucking Court or Mr. Tito or Maeve Deltzer or anybody else. Enough's enough now. We have reached the fortnight of WrestleMania weekend, and it is the, let me think, 14th, 15th, 16th. God, this is like the fucking 5th annual, I think. I'll have to actually add it up. Main Event WrestleMania Weekend Preview episode. Episode 1, 2, 3. Which means one of my co-hosts probably wants me to play the Jackson 5 tonight, even though that song's fucking great. But we have got a lot to talk about on this show tonight. Of course, we will talk about the big show Sunday night at MetLife in the B block. But that's not the only show this weekend. We all know. Of course, we've got a show Friday night at Barclays. We'll talk about that. We have also at Barclays Saturday night, the Hall of Fame ceremony. We'll talk about the Hall of Famers briefly. But we are definitely also going to talk about, this isn't WWE-related centric show. We're going to talk about the big show going on Saturday night at Madison Square Garden. And that is, of course, the G1, the big combo between Ring of Honor and New Japan. And some fucking amazing matches will be going on Saturday evening at the Garden. So why don't we bring in this incredible crew of talent. We'll begin, of course, with my brother from another mother. And he is looking forward to the big title change going on Sunday with his amazing tag team. And we're not talking about the Usos, but the other pair of Samoans, but we'll get to them in the B block. The Godfather, Nate Milton.
What is going on, Brother Scotty? I'm looking forward to this week's show. I don't want to get too far into the prognostication, but I definitely think this will be more entertaining than the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal or the Women's Battle Royal. But yes, episode 123. So obviously, we got to give a shout out to MJ. We got to give a shout out to your man LeBron. But I'm going to go with somebody else that you might not think of when you see the number 23, Scotty.
Yes.
Since WrestleMania is all about titles and people winning titles, I'm going to go with a champ. Champ Bailey.
Yes. There we go. Was that with Denver or the Redskins? Or did you wear them for both?
I was with Denver. I know definitely Denver, maybe the Redskins, but I definitely know for Denver.
For Denver, yes. Of course, MJ. We can't forget MJ. Of course, Donnie Baseball, Don Mattingly. Of course, wore 23 as well. This guy has been talking about it all day, and he's been chomping at the bit. The conscience of Place to Be Nation, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Steve Willie.
Oh my God, I am so excited right now.
I've heard that. I hope I don't hear that much this weekend.
It is a pleasure to be here. Of course, hi Nate, hi Scott, love y'all. So we have Ryan, we have Jordan, we have LeBron, we have one of my favorite baseball players growing up, Ryan Sandberg, Don Mattingly. But for the first time ever in the history of the main event, we have been doing this for how many years now, Scott?
Jeez.
5 years, you said?
Oh, well, yeah, 2014 when it launched. So, yeah, almost 6 years. Yeah.
We have an actual jersey number 123. This week, the Chicago Bears. So this is WrestleMania week. Always the same week. And this week on Monday, the Chicago Bears came out with a huge video, and they announced their third jersey for the year. It is their 100th anniversary So for one game this season, they are going to put triple digits on the jerseys. And Pro Bowler Kyle Fuller, the Bears star cornerback, will be number 123. My God, we did it. Now, they revealed that it was an April Fool's joke, but I don't care. For the sake of the main event, we have the first ever triple-digit sports jersey. Suck it, Justin Rosero. I don't know why I said that.
I'm gonna have to get you that now. I hope that like when you go to NFL.com and you can make a jersey, you know, I think you should be allowed to make 3 digits.
They're putting up a Mitchell Trubisky one, 110 for a charity that they used in the commercial.
Ah, okay, but they should definitely do it.
Oh yeah, that would be hilarious.
I mean, come on, it's not like we're going on the Panthers site and make a Ray Caruth jersey. I mean, come on, we're not that low.
Or Ron Mexico jersey.
Ron Mexico, yeah. All right.
So you think like, boy, Steve, you really brought it. You really brought it with that triple digit. But that is not it. I have more, Scott.
But wait, there's more.
I have more, Nate Milton. In my deep dive for 23s, because we all know Jordan. We've been talking about Jordan forever. Jordan, probably the most famous number of all time, right? 23, everyone associates it with Michael Jordan. But did you know that from the moment that Michael Jordan retired to, I have found this article deep diving Google today, to 2014, there are 41 players from that time period that wore the number 23. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, of course, LeBron, Marcus Camby, blah, blah, blah. Yep. Who are the worst 5 people who have worn the number 23 in the NBA since Michael Jordan retired? I am so glad you asked. The worst. And I'm going to see if you guys know any of these people. And I'm sorry for our guests, but this is way more important than Mania. Do you guys remember Sherrod Ford? Okay. Well, he played 3 games for the Phoenix Suns in 2005, where he scored a total of 4 points, 3 rebounds, and no assists, which is the exact same number of assists that Nate Milton got in the NBA. So good job, Nate. Have you guys heard of Ben Hansborough from the Pacers?
Yes. Isn't that, what's his name's brother?
Yes.
With the Notre Dame.
That is Tyler's brother as well. He had a nice 2-year career where he scored 2 points a game and 0.6 rebounds.
He was an ND alum. There we go.
And just to go through them quickly, because we have a Travis Leslie, who was a Clipper for a couple of years.
Yep. I think I know that name. Yep.
And let's see, Jeremy Richardson, another scrub, but he was a scrub on the Spur. But he also ruled.
I love the fact, Steve, you just said that so matter of fact. Yeah, another scrub. Anyway,
a lot of Spurs on this list.
I was gonna say there's been a lot of Spurs that have worn that number, and they're all equally terrible.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
like the team. Yeah.
All right, but that's all I got. I'm pretty much good for the rest of the show. I will like sit off the second half because I don't want to just bring all the context tonight. Oh, jeez.
All right. I'm getting you one of those triple-digit shirts. with your svelte figure, it'll look like a fucking abacus or something. I don't know. Anyway, we've got some incredible talent tonight that we haven't had on in a while. This guy has been on often. He has his own amount of 97 podcasts over on the Pop feed. I'm not reading them all right now, but you all know what they are. Mr. Andy Atherton.
Oh, thank you, Scott. Thank you, Nate. Thank you, Steve. Yeah, you kind of stole my thunder because I had a line all ready. You know, I'm saying we're talking about Johnny Wrestling, but my number 23 is Donnie Baseball.
No, sorry.
Yeah, but hey, me and Mr. Rosaro's Yankees. But although I despise them to the core, Mr. Bob Nystrom of the
New York Islanders. Yes,
the New York Islanders. I remember him as a kid. He was one of the last no helmet guys too back then.
One of the last few, yeah. And he scored the game-winning goal in the 1980 Stanley Cup Finals to begin the Islanders dynasty. And as a matter of fact, he wore number 23 for the New Haven Nighthawks, which was my AHL team when I was a kid that played 5 minutes from my house at the old New Haven Coliseum. And he wore number 23 for the Nighthawks as well.
And then like Steve knows all too well, Google's your friend. And, we have Mr. David Beckham for number 23. So if I actually watch soccer, I would know that, but I don't. So, but we might have somebody else who does on the show tonight. And then we go with Devin Hester, one of the better kick returners over the last decade or so, I would say. But yeah, so thank you for having me on the show. I'm excited to talk about NXT Takeover, Ring of Honor, and Mania.
Yes, and of course, Devin Hester was the only highlight of that sloppy shitbag Super Bowl that your team played in, Steve.
Well, no, the Prince wasn't Prince.
Oh, well,
Prince
was the
once.
highlight.
That was Prince and Devin Hester
in the rain. Yes, that's awesome.
I think we've talked about that before. I honestly do not remember anything else about that Super Bowl.
Rex who? Anyway, all right, Andy, always a pleasure. Now, an incredible guest making his podcast debut, period. He's never been on any show ever, but he won one of our many awesome Place to Be Nation contests, as he was the one that got all of the names of everyone who participated in the Place to Be podcast Christmas Spectacular, all 967 people, including Aaron George, and his 57 characters. And, of course, the sultry version, Miranda's sultry Stu Hart, because I don't think I'd ever want to see sultry and Stu Hart in the same fucking sentence. But in any event, here he comes all the way from the Hot Rod's backyard. He is the new hot Scott, Mr. Callum McDougall. Callum, welcome to the main event.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are we doing?
Good morning. That makes me so depressed.
It's a new day. Yes, it is.
It's a new day. Yes, it is.
Yeah, I am a day closer to Kofi Kingston winning the WWE Championship than you are. So,
but it is a pleasure to have you here. Thank you. Thank you. And
just before, yep,
oh, yes.
Andy stole my one and only number 23 as the token soccer fan, seemingly. Yeah, that was my only one, David Beckham. So, cheers.
Here we go.
Sorry about
all
that,
right.
Cal.
So
that's all right. I'll forgive you.
I just stole some from him, so we had to steal some from somebody else. And finally, I feel like this is the only episode of the year that I seem to be able to get him on. But he is a Place to Be Patient main event alum. If you listened to the Place to Be podcast this past week, I mentioned a very good friend of mine who passed away, and Justin knew him well, and this guy knew him very well also. So he'd be very proud to know that we're doing a Mania preview. And that is, of course, the Enigma himself, Mr. Johnny Reckless. Johnny, welcome back.
Pleasure to be back. I don't have any number 23 trivia to give you, but I do have fond memories of the New Haven Nighthawks.
Yes, don't we all? I was going to say, actually, Johnny, that I thought Steve Willie was going to say that a 3-digit jersey was, I thought you were going to say the Rocco Rocker Johnny Grunge wore a jersey with 3 numbers on it. That's what I thought it was. I thought one of them wore 3 digits. I don't know. Anyway, gentlemen.
Johnny, say Jason Richardson.
Jason Richardson. Yeah, he's a... Anyway, all right. Boys, it is a jam-packed weekend, and in the B block, we will discuss the big show Sunday. However, as Steve Willie mentioned on a past episode of Main Event, there is 43 other cards this weekend, and we're going to go through all of them tonight. We're going to begin with the 3rd grade CYO basketball tournament. No, there is a ton of, Evolve, and what are some other ones, Steve? I know you looked at the list the other night, or the last time we were on. I'm sure Evolve's doing a show. Now, WrestleCon is over at the Hilton in Times Square. Usually Shimmer does a show at WrestleCon. When I went in 2013, when Mania was last at MetLife, they did a show on the other side of the convention center in Secaucus. So I don't know how big the ballroom is at the Hilton, so I can't imagine there being a ring. Maybe there is. Yeah, there must be, because I think there's other stuff going on there. I think Joey Ryan's penis thing, or whatever the fuck his stupid thing is called, some penis pay-per-view, whatever the hell it is. I think that's in there too, and a bunch of other stuff. So I think there is a ring there. So I know there'll probably be some shows there as well.
Yeah, the WrestleCon show was supposed to be really, really good. It still looks decent, but they lost all the Dragon Gate guys because they weren't able to get visas to come over. And through I've read a lot about it through no fault of their own, either Dragon Gate or WrestleCon. I know Pac couldn't even get a visa to come over, from England of all things. So, just some people losing out, and everyone's been very nice about, hey, we'll refund your money, but they've put on decent cards. There's enough talent there that they can do stuff, but some of those low-end cards look garbage. And as we said last episode, I do think that this is going to be the last year that it's so big. This is our peak. This is the jump the shark year, and it's going to be a lot less, kind of back to like a couple of years ago, in Tampa. That is my prediction. And it's just you guys, you know the East Coast way better than I do. Most of you guys do, and I can't even imagine getting around to go to all these events with
it
the
is definitely
transportation.
tough. No, it's definitely going to be tough. You've got to take a lot more. It's not like New Orleans probably, or even Miami, where you can probably drive around to a lot of places. Here, it's mostly you have to take subways and Lyfts and Ubers and things like that. So in that instance, it probably is not easy. As a matter of fact, I could have sworn. It's definitely the Hilton because I went on the WrestleCon site today. I thought that it was going to be at the Javits Center, which is a much bigger place. The Javits Center, Andy, you've been there. Yeah. I was there for the New York Comic Con back in October. That place is fucking huge. So I can't believe that they didn't put either A, they didn't put WrestleCon there, or B, WWE didn't put Access there.
Well,
or C, there's a whole bunch of other things there.
I know.
Well, you know what comes up annually, I've been to several times, is the New York Auto Show. Mm-hmm. So possibly they could need, some lead time, because I believe it usually starts around Easter or spring break time. So maybe they need some lead time to get all those fucking cars in and get the place set up.
Maybe.
So that's the only thing I can maybe think of why they didn't do the Javits Center.
Yeah, I don't know.
And the Javits Center is actually by train, by car, it's real easy because it's literally right on the West Side Highway.
Yeah, it is. No, absolutely. So anyway, Access is going to be at a pier in Brooklyn, which apparently, talking to Mr. Rotella's cousin, is a bitch. Of course, for those of you, his cousin actually works at WWE, and he handles that kind of stuff. And he says it's a pain in the ass. They miss Izod. Because Izod had access, the Izod Center on the property where MetLife is, but now Izod barely used for anything now, so it's probably a piece of shit, and they probably can't do anything with it anyway. So anyway, you're right, Steve. It is not easy to get around up here.
And they have some other great shows that are new, like Stardom is putting the Japanese women's promotions putting on a show. DDT is putting on a show that's sold out. The Joey Janela shows are sold out. WWN Evolve shows are actually not doing well at all because there's so many shows and they just have a very weak roster, even with bringing a couple NXT guys in.
Mm. And then so I guess on WrestleCon it's called Joey Ryan's something penis. It's got penis in it. That's all I know. And it's obviously some pile of garbage, but no, apparently it's a pretty good. Let me see if I could find it. Well, let me go to WrestleCon.
Yeah, the Hilton is. I'm looking at your best friend Bix, and
God, if I run into him, I swear to God, I'm gonna throw him in a fucking sewer if I see him this weekend. You know what? I'm gonna read your fucking forensics report like you read everybody else's on your show. Anyway, here we go. So, all right, hotel, superstar. Yeah. Live events. Let's see. Joey Ryan's penis party. You will at least going to that. All right. So it's Friday. It's Friday night, 8:00. Here's the card. We're not doing picks. It is the Lucha Brothers versus the Newlyweds, and that's Johnny Nitro. This is actually a wrestling card. I can't believe it. King of the Concrete Jungle match. Black Taurus, Shark Boy, Puma King, Mr. Iguana, and Green Ant. Sounds like Chikara, for Christ's sake.
We know not taking place at the Bronx Zoo.
That's what I'm thinking. Jesus.
We know Shark Boy. Green Ant is Chikara, but not the original Green Ant. That's a mess. I don't even know what these people are.
We have a penis party death match. I don't know.
I just keep thinking of PCU when they were chanting, "This penis party's got to go." Hey, ho ho. Every time you say that, sorry. Go on, Scott.
Barry versus Bill Carr.
Okay.
Also featuring such stars as Joey Ryan, Trent 7, which is Trent Beretta, Chuck Taylor, Tracy Smothers. Are you for real?
Whoever can move is getting a book this weekend.
Cole Cabana, Scarlett Bordeaux, Sue Young, Twisted Sisters.
Okay.
I dig them. Tommy Dreamer? Oh my God, Tommy, really? OJZ,
DJZ, maybe?
Abez, Erez, and Sexy Eddie. And the sexy is 3 X's. So fucking shit, let me tell you. All right, so there you go. So that's the Joey Ryan penis part. I can't even believe I'm fucking saying that. That's the show, WrestleCon. There's also Super Show at WrestleCon. Let's see. Thursday before the WrestleCon Super Show ticket prices $49 to $249. Fucking A. It's the Mark Hitchcock Memorial Super Show. This is on what's April 4th? Tomorrow. This is on Thursday night.
Mm-hmm. This is a pretty big show. They had Omega on it. Kenny Omega on it last year. When, I think the only other show he did besides the Ring of Honor show.
Mm. The cards are Bandito against Will Ospreay, so that's a big deal. Mm-hmm. Liger's going to be there. Dragon Lee versus Cavernario. Zach is going to be there, Sabre, and we'll talk about him in a little bit, against Shane Strickland. First match features the Lucha Brothers, and it's just the Lucha Brothers. Doesn't have any events.
So, Phoenix
Lux
and Penta.
Kid and Tanaka's going to be there. Masato Tanaka's going to be there. Isn't he wrestling? Oh shit! I thought he was wrestling Will. I guess he's not.
He may be at another show. I know he's wrestling David Starr at one of the shows.
Yeah, maybe it's U.S. versus the World. U.S. versus the World is Friday night. Battle in the Big Apple. That's the other WrestleCon show. Oh, you know who's wrestling Tanaka? Tanaka's wrestling Friday night against Brian Cage, who of course.
Okay. And he's wrestling my guy Eddie Kingston on Thursday. Don't piss him off.
The Rascals taking on Australian Suicide, Robbie Eagles, and Adam Brooks. Sammy Guevara taking on Puma King. So Puma King's wrestling more than once. MJF takes on Ethan Page. Brian Pillman Jr. wrestling on this show. He's taking on Emil Sitochi. Rich Swann is wrestling Akimen. David Starr taking on Daga.
Yep, he was in Lucha Underground.
Lax taking on the team of Teddy Hart and Harry Smith. And LAX. And then Darby Allin taking on Black Taurus. And also Scarlett Bordeaux's going to be at that show too. So that's the shows that are happening at WrestleCon.
Those are like your big indie names that are around still. A lot of guys from Mexico.
Right.
You know, they're going to get booked a lot.
Now, Rev Pro returns. Live Pro Wrestling direct from England. Rev Pro returns. New York City. This is Friday afternoon at 3 o'clock. I think they still have tickets. 5 matches. Well, 4 matches, and then a special guest, Mr. Shibata, our guy Shibata, who obviously is retired. Tanahashi and Ospreay against Suzuki Gun.
Oh, that's probably Suzuki and Zack Sabre Jr.
Yep. Tomohiro Ishii taking on David Starr. Rocky Romero against Taguchi. And Alex Coughlin and Carl Fredericks versus CCK.
So those are two of those first 2 guys are New Japan dojo guys, like USA dojo guys, and then CCK I believe they're a tag team out of England.
You ever heard of them, Callum? CCK?
Yeah, I think the Progress regulars. I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's
yes, I believe.
But I've never come across them. They don't travel north very often.
Oh, okay.
Jerks.
So. Yeah, they are jerks. All right, so those are the shows at WrestleCon. Let's obviously talk about let's get into the 2 big ones. All right. Friday night at Barclay, which is actually, I'm on the floor. I haven't sat on the floor in
nice.
God knows how long. Me and the doctor, Dr. G, will be with me in the house. And so NXT TakeOver New York, they're not calling it obviously TakeOver Brooklyn, because that's specially for SummerSlam weekend. So TakeOver New York, 5 matches, as usual, all of them for titles. The War Raiders taking on Aleister Black and Ricochet for the NXT Tag Team titles. Pete Dunne will defend the UK Championship against Walter. Of course, a 2 out of 3 falls for the vacant NXT title because of the injury to Mr. Ciampa. So Johnny Gargano will take on Adam Cole. Velveteen Dream will defend the North American title against Matt Riddle. And Shayna Baszler will defend the NXT Women's title in a fatal four-way against Shirai, Bianca Belair, and Kairi Sane. Of course, Kairi Sane's the former champion. Her and Baszler had a great feud at the end of 2018. Callum, I'll start with you. Does not having Ciampa here kind of mess things up a little bit, or do you think they recovered pretty well?
I think they've recovered pretty well. Obviously, you'd want Ciampa to be on the card because he's been absolutely brilliant since he came back. I think it's good that we've got something different with Gargano and Cole, because I think there's only so many times you can see, as much as they keep having great matches, there's only so many times you can see Ciampa and Gargano face each other. No, so I think I think they've made the best out of a bad situation.
Okay. What do you think, Andy?
Yeah, I think they've recovered quite well. It kind of sucks that by the time Ciampa comes back, they could be on the main roster. So the story will have to conclude, whatever there. But, I'm a big Adam Cole fan, so I'm happy he's in the NXT title match. So, yeah, I think, they're NXT rolls with the punches a lot better than I think the main roster does when adversity strikes. So I'm confident that this is going to be tear down the house, this match.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What do you think, Steve?
I think they're doing the best they can. I don't know where they were. That's the problem with doing these not the problem, I'll say, like the hard part about doing 5-card shows is people are going to get left off. So you wonder, what would Undisputed Era do if Ciampa didn't get hurt? Not that I'm rooting for Ciampa to get hurt at all. When he comes back, I think he's going to be a huge face. And yeah, like you said, Gargano versus Ciampa, Callum. As much as you think this would be the end of everything, it's going on for a few years now. And there's only so many ways you can do it. So I'm still pretty positive Gargano's going to win, but I'd be fairly surprised if Cole wins. And that's what we'll get, Undisputed Era. And I'm just looking forward to see the match. I'm hoping I'm surprised, because it's not fun for me when I know who's going to win. So I'm hoping, there might be a surprise, or at least give us some sort of tease, and maybe something happen at the end of the match if Gargano does win.
Nate and Johnny, I'll give this question to you two guys. I'll start with you, Nate. Is Ciampa fragile? There's 2 big injuries. You talked, Steve, about, that this feud's been going on for 2 years. Well, it's going on for 2 years because Ciampa's gotten hurt twice. Mm-hmm. So, that it's kind of had no choice but to go this long. Nate, is this a bad sign that Ciampa keeps getting hurt?
I mean, you can take this in the larger context of sports, not just WWE. When guys have a propensity for getting injured, are they injury prone, or do they just have a run of bad luck? And I think the jury's still out on that question for Ciampa. It's bad timing, obviously. And I don't know why they were brought up to the main roster in the first place. Mm-hmm. Because I think other than Ricochet and Black, none of the phase 2, to steal a Marvel term, NXT call-ups have clicked with me. They completely botched phase 1. Like, other than Otis and Dozovich. No, I mean, Otis is Dozovich.
Tucker?
Yes, Otis and Tucker. I don't think any of the guys, EC3 hadn't hit, Nikki Cross, I love her, but she hadn't hit, Lacey Evans hadn't hit, so I think they put Ciampa and Gargano in a bad spot, and maybe the only silver lining out of all this, Scotty, is now we get a chance to reset a bit.
Right. Okay. Johnny, what do you think? Do you think Ciampa's fragile?
I think what's happening with you see it every once in a while with certain guys is they work this crazy indie style, and I think over time that just catches up to people. And I think that's what's going on with Ciampa, unfortunately. The most concerning part is his most recent comments on Twitter that he said if he does come back, he's on borrowed time.
Well,
Yeah. So, because I think
Dan Patrick,
yeah,
Ciampa's day to day, aren't we all?
aren't we all? Because I think on this weekend, on the big weekend here in the Northeast, if it was Ciampa Gargano, obviously, I think there was no doubt it was finally going to happen. Gargano was finally going to win his first NXT title, and he was going to end the feud right there. Having said that, that's why I think Cole is going to win the match and win the title, because I think you're going to wait. Ciampa has to win the NXT title for the first time. I mean, Gargano has to win the NXT title for the first time against Ciampa. He has to. I just think it's built that way. And I think we need a solid Undisputed Era run of just everybody's got belts.
Yep.
So I think we need to get a little Evolution Horseman action going here. I think Cole needs to win the world title. I think Fish and O'Reilly need to somehow get the tag belts back, and I think somehow we're going to see. I think Roddy should win the North American belt. I think Undisputed Era should own everything and rule the summer as a true heel faction. That's my opinion, and I think they could do that now starting with Cole winning the NXT belt. Callum, Velveteen Dream is a stud. I think we all know that.
Oh, definitely.
Yet it's very hard. Like, I understand. Look, everybody. This is where I get frustrated, and Steve and Nate know this. We've talked about this ad nauseum for many, many episodes about the brain trust getting so itchy to push these guys and fill the main roster, which is why guys like Apollo Crews get lost in the shuffle, because they went up when there was no room for them at the inn, and now these other guys can't because guys like Apollo Crews are already on the main roster, and there's already too many slots. Can we have this NXT show and not Monday on Raw have fucking everybody show up and then NXT has nobody left? Can we at least do you think we can get through this show and everybody will stick around?
It's very possible. But if you look at the amount of guys that are, I think it was Steve said, the amount of guys that can't get on a takeover card. So there's NXT's got a very big roster as well. It could be that we could go Monday and Tuesday and not have any surprises, and they wait till SummerSlam to fill up SmackDown if it's going to go to 3 hours, like there's the rumours going around, because then they need a bit of a boost in their roster numbers, so they might hold off. That being said, I think I'm thinking Dream loses and he shows up. He shows up Monday or Tuesday, because I think he's been on a roll in NXT for a good couple of years. I don't think he really needs to win the NXT title to prove that he's one of their main guys. So I think he does turn up, and hopefully he doesn't turn into another Apollo Crews.
What do you think, Steve? I mean, is the roster stable right now? We're not going to see 1,000 guys show up Monday.
I think that with bringing up some of the other people that Nate had mentioned, and the fact that we are so used to people being called up the day after Mania, they've been getting away from that a little bit. I think you might see 1 or 2 people showing up. They've been spreading it out a little bit more over the years. I'd say the last 18 months to various levels of success.
Right.
So, I could see a couple people coming up. You can create an entire brand just based on people sitting at the Performance Center working out. Right now, you can create a 4th brand. So I'm not terribly worried. We watch every week. And pretty much up on it, they're already starting to kind of rebuild the women's division into something pretty cool with a lot of newer people like Vanessa Bourne and Aaliyah, and Casey Catanzaro actually got on TV this past week ago.
I saw that. Yep.
And God, she's so tiny she can barely even see over the top rope. I didn't notice that until watching NXT. She is 5 foot nothing, but she's got a lot of presence. So there's a lot of people that are sitting on the bench that they can slowly move up. Because remember, it's only an hour show. Everyone is not on every week.
Right.
Keith Lee and Dominic Dijakovic had a match, and they were on like 3 weeks later. Was the next time you saw them. So yeah, I'm not too worried about it. I'm more worried about the Raw and SmackDown brands and how deep they go, and they're just gonna keep putting people on there until other people quit, because there's just no mass firings like there used to be. Not that I want that to happen, but they're just gonna cheese people off until they quit.
Callum, what do you think of this Pete Dunne Walter match? I like Walter. I kind of like his intimidating, kind of mean, overcoaty look. I kind of dig that. I like Pete Dunne. I think we all like Pete Dunne, but maybe we're due for a change. What do you think of that match?
Yeah, I think we're definitely due for a change. I thought with the first UK takeover, I thought there was going to be a changeover, and I didn't think it was going to be Joe Coffey that was going to take it off him. I think after that you knew that Dunne was probably going to keep it, but I think Walter's definitely going to win. That is just that might be, other than probably the New Japan, that'll probably be the hardest hitting match of the weekend. Those two guys are just going to knock lumps out of each other, which is going to be absolutely brilliant to watch.
That's what I want to see. I want to see two guys just pummel the shit out of each other. Pete Dunne wrestles like a big guy, obviously. So I'm digging that. What do you think of that match, Nate?
I think that'll be a fun match. It'll probably be one of the more remembered matches from this takeover. But getting back real quick, Scotty, to the question you posed before that, terms of NXT and the call-ups.
Yeah, sure.
Honestly, I think there are only two people that should be called up that are on this card, and that's the Sky Pirates. Because I think those are two people that have an immediate position the moment they're called up. Everybody else, they're going to try to find a spot. They're going to have to fit in and get in. I don't think I want to see Dream come up right now, because honestly, I think the company would ruin it at this point with the way they tell a lot of their stories, particularly on Raw. So I'd hold him back for a little bit, but I would definitely bring up Sane and Shirai, because day one, they are immediately top contenders for that women's tag team title.
What's your opinion on that, Andy?
Oh, yeah, I agree with Nate. I think Shayna's coming up too, personally, but we'll talk about that when we get to that match. I don't think there's going to be mass call-ups. One guy I think I don't get Steve Riddle. I kind of don't. I don't.
You mean Matt Riddle? We love Steve Riddle.
Matt Riddle. Sorry, Steve Riddle. Sorry,
Steve Riddle's with Place to Be Nation, and I don't get him sometimes. No, I love Steve Riddle. No, I'm sorry.
No, Steve's a great support of the Candy tournament. So shout out.
Exactly, and he writes great match reviews of our house shows. So.
Yes, and that's coming back to the site at placetobenation.com very soon. Anyway, no, Matt Riddle. I kind of don't get. I think he needs to talk to Rusev about what happens when you wrestle without boots. Also, I think he's not going to translate to the main roster. So I hope, they hone him down there. I mean, Steve probably knows him a lot better than I do. So I'm just seeing what I see. But I don't think, like the other guys have said, they're sprinkling the call up. So I think we're going to see more returns than call over Monday and Tuesday of next week.
Yeah, I don't think they should be in any rush to move people up. You've got guys that are more suited to NXT. Like, as you say, Matt Riddle probably won't. He's popular enough, but whether or not he'll get a decent run, I think the same about Gargano. I think he might just get swallowed up there. So, Gargano might benefit from not moving up at all. Certainly not in the immediate future.
Yeah. What do you think of Matt Riddle, Johnny?
If Cena, sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Although if somehow Ray, we've heard Ray's injured, possibly, so he could miss Sunday. If Johnny loses, and we could see him answering if there's an open challenge. I could see him being a possible candidate. So, but I think Johnny is without Ciampa around. Johnny's U.S. title, Intercontinental title level, and I think Johnny will be okay. But sorry, didn't interrupt.
No, that's okay. We'll get more into that match later on in the show. Johnny, what do you think of Matt Riddle?
I'm actually a fan of Matt Riddle. I think the guy has his own unique charisma, and he's got a pretty unique wrestling style. And it could be that I've seen enough of his stuff before he got to NXT where there are some flashes of brilliance with him, especially his matches against Keith Lee from I believe it was either 2016 or 2017. I don't remember. They had quite a few of them, but I think as long as they kind of mold him a little bit, Matt Riddle could definitely be something big.
Steve, you're not a big Matt Riddle fan, right? You hate his guts.
Steve Willie hung up the phone after hearing Andy talk about Matt Riddle. So
no main event invites for you. All right, so
I'm guessing you won't be on the next great debate.
well, there'll be a debate, all right.
Oh, well, I got Chad.
You'll be popped on the pop feed. So, all right. So quick rundown of the card, and then we'll move on. All right. Round the horn, very quick. Yes or no? War Raiders and Black and Ricochet. Nate, who wins?
Yes.
All right, next.
War Raiders, because I think Black and Ricochet have bigger fish to fry on the main roster.
I see, bigger fish to fry. Okay, Andy.
The War Raiders.
Callum.
War Raiders.
Okay. Johnny.
War Raiders.
Steve.
The sweet, sexy Hanson and Rowe. I love me some Hanson. That guy's the best.
Right. So,
yeah,
Callum, we know you like
great song.
Yeah. Callum, we know you like Walter to win the UK title. Anybody disagree with that? Andy?
I haven't watched NXT UK, so I defer to our Scottish friend Callum's expertise on the matter. So, I mean, I could see it going either way, though.
Okay. Nate, what do you think?
Walter all day.
Steve? Walter and Knight?
Whoa. Here is my hot main event prediction.
Oh.
Walter versus Pete Dunne will be Scott Criscolo's favorite match of the weekend.
Okay. I'll be more up close to it than I will Triple H and Batista, but
we'll get
to that match.
You forget there's a Triple H match this weekend?
No, I know like Scott differentiates like, fandom from like, oh my God, what did I just see?
Yes.
No, yeah, I can.
Yes, I do.
Straight up match. That's going to be your favorite match.
I have a very sneaky feeling, Mr. Willie, that I will agree with you because, because that match is like right in my wheelhouse. And Callum, you kind of hit the nail on the head about what did he say? You had an awesome term. Bringing the lumps, giving lumps.
They'll knock lumps out of each other.
Knock lumps. Mm-hmm. Damn it, I love that term. Knocking lumps. Is that a Kanye song, Nate? Knocking lumps? I think.
Is that going to replace Mollywomped?
Mollywomped, yes.
In your vernacular?
You have to retire Mollywomped finally.
Hey, I got to get to that copyright before Conrad beats me to it.
It's just a rumor and innuendo.
Okay, Steve.
Oh, Walter. Well, yeah, Walter by easily.
Right. We got Walter winning it. All right, so let me ask you this very quickly. I'll start back with you, Andy. If Pete Dunne does lose, what's next for him? Quickly.
He's main roster. I think he comes over. He debuts there. I think they're going on a UK tour right after Mania. I believe.
They usually do. Yeah, they usually do.
I think he makes his main roster debut over there.
Okay. Callum, where does Pete Dunne go from here?
I don't think he goes over. I think he stays for a wee bit longer. He's sort of the main man on NXT UK. So I reckon you might get another UK takeover out of him, but he's not going to be on these shows for too long.
Okay, Johnny, what do you think?
I think you see more of him on the main NXT brand, and maybe a feud with Adam Cole.
Oh, maybe little NXT title matches. Oh, okay. Well, that's if Adam Cole wins. Okay. Does Matt Riddle win the North American title, or does Velveteen Dream keep it? Johnny.
If I have my way, it's Riddle.
Steve, I don't know who you're picking. No, I'll be fair, Steve. You know I'm always fair with you.
Yeah.
But does he win, though?
You know, I don't think that they believe that North American Championship means much. It's been kind of a hot potato belt since its inception, really only a year ago, right? It was at Mania Weekend last year, I believe, that it started.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's been several people already who've had it. So I want Riddle to win. I believe he will win because I don't think they're ready to bring someone like Riddle up yet.
Right. Okay. All right. Nate?
This one could go either way. I think I'm going to go with Riddle, though, because I think there's the potential for Dream to do more in the upper ranks of NXT.
Mm-hmm. I'd agree with that.
Okay. Did I get everybody? Johnny, I asked you, right?
Yes.
I think I got everybody. Okay. Most of us think Shane. All right. Well, I think we were talking about Shayna quickly before. Steve, I'll start with you. Does she keep it, or does she lose it? And if she loses it, does she move?
I think she's going to lose it. I think Bianca Belair will win. I think that Shayna will stick around a while, have a one-on-one rematch with Bianca Belair, which Bianca will win. And then I think whenever Ronda comes back, Shayna will be right behind her.
Okay. And then we get the real horsewoman.
Yeah.
Okay. Johnny, what do you think?
I think she retains, but I think you're going to get a bit of a Paige situation where she shows up on the main roster still being the NXT Women's Champion.
Oh, that's something we don't think that not many people bring up. I could see that. Callum, what do you think?
I think Shayna loses. Whether or not she goes up straight away, I'm not sure. I think before they started bringing up these guys, when they did the reboot at the start of the year, I would have said that Shayna was nailed on to come up on the Monday or the Tuesday. Not so confident about it now. Not sure who was going to win when I was doing my predictions earlier on, so I think I went Io Shirai to win, not thinking that they might bring up her and Sane as a tag team. So, but I think I'll stick to my guns. I think Io Shirai will win.
Okay. All right. Andy, what do you think?
I think Bianca Belair is going to take it. Basically, I think the other three are all getting called up. So I think it's going to be a good match. I love the end of NXT this week. I mean, it was Bianca Belair versus Kairi Sane, and in a schmaz with Io Shirai standing tall at the end. Basically, the entire women's NXT roster was out there to try to break up because Shayna came in with the horsewomen and started causing wreaking havoc, if you will. So, Bianca Belair's taking it, I think.
Okay, Nate?
Shayna retains, and I think she stays for a couple reasons. Number one, they're not sure what Ronda's going to do in terms of taking time off, and I don't think you're going to bring Shayna up unless you're going to tell the story of Becky tapping Ronda and Shayna out for revenge. That's the only way I could see Shayna coming up. But the other kind of elephant or horse in the room is if Shayna comes up without the other two, without Shafir and Duke, they're going to be toast on NXT.
Yeah, I agree.
They're still pretty green, and I think they need Shayna as the nucleus that they kind of form around.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. Yeah. All right. Nate, I'll stick with you. Johnny Wrestling or Adam Cole, baby? Who walks out NXT champion?
I know it's spring, guys, but I think come NXT Takeover New York, it's going to be a cold world.
Okay.
It's a bit of a stretch, but I think it worked.
I liked it. Everything works. It doesn't even matter if it makes no sense with you. Andy.
It's all in the delivery. I'm like your man
Exactly.
Triple H. The content doesn't matter.
Exactly. Never did. Andy.
What was that? Sorry.
Johnny or Adam Cole?
I think it's Adam Cole, baby.
All right.
Yeah, I totally agree with what you said earlier about Undisputed Era, and this is where it begins. I think we see them grab all the gold and they just dominate NXT, at least through probably past TakeOver Toronto. I think that's where SummerSlam is this year.
Yes.
So I think till then, possibly the TakeOver to Survivor Series. I think these guys will have all the gold if there's a TakeOver before Money in the Bank. I think all the whole four of them will have it. As much as I would love to see Johnny get that moment, I think Adam Cole's taking it.
Yeah. Okay. Callum?
Yeah, I'm an Adam Cole. I think he's gonna. I think. So I completely lost my train of thought. Yeah, Adam Cole wins. Undisputed Era win all the belts sort of in quick succession. I then think you'll probably find that if they do another War Games this year, you have a 4 horsemen type deal where you've got a team of champions in the Undisputed Era going in against all their main challengers. I know they sort of did that last year, but I think that's maybe where they go. And you could also think that Gargano beating Ricochet, it means he's got the thing that he can win at TakeOver, but he can't win the NXT title. A bit like Chris Jericho not being able to win the big one. So I think that's where they're going to go. So I'm picking Cole.
Okay, Johnny.
Yeah, definitely going with Cole.
Okay, Steve.
You guys are changing my mind, but first of all, I'm going in with Gargano. I'm sticking with my thought that they're just going to continue, and I think you guys didn't give Nate Milton enough credit. I thought his Cole reference was unforgettable.
Now you know why Callum lost his train of thought.
That's what you are.
Sultry analogies.
I see you, Nate.
All right. Okay. Now, 2 big things to talk about on Saturday. Very quickly, I don't want to belabor it because we could talk about these guys all night long. The Hall of Fame class of 2019 is a kind of a mixed bag. Of course, it's highlighted, of course, by my boys, D-Generation X, and the Hall of Fame T-shirt's badass, by the way. Harlem Heat and the Hart Foundation. Who wouldn't want to see those two in their prime? How fucking cool would that be? The Honky Tonk Man. All right, Johnny, you fucking happy now? Stupid IC guy finally is. And what is he? You always tell me.
Could I induct him?
Yes. And of course, I lost my screen here. Tori Wilson and the Brutai, Mr. Rozzero's big. I told him he's got to get the Hall of Fame T-shirt because he's the man. The Brutai, and then the Warrior Award goes to Sue Atchison. I think that's what it is. Who's a longtime executive. She's been there as long as, I think, Rotella's cousin, 1980-something. Many of the charitable programs and the Make-A-Wish Foundation. And she was the Duchess of Queensberry in the match between Regal and Jericho at Backlash 01. What do you think of the, very quickly, we'll go around the horn. I'll start with you, Johnny. What do you think of this class?
I think it's a good class. A couple, between the Hart Foundation, Brutus, and Honky, you got a bunch of guys who, it's about time. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree. What do you think, Steve?
I have a buddy over at IVP Videos. I get some stuff from, and he said, if you're talking about a fictional, there's no real reasons for the people to get in, then isn't Brutus, and this was no knock, but isn't Brutus Beefcake as good of a choice as anybody else?
Sure.
Yeah.
No, I agree with that. I like the fact that Greg Valentine's 2 greatest tag team partners are going in the Hall of Fame in the same year. He should induct both of them. Yeah. He should have blonde hair. He should have his blonde hair when he inducts Brutai, one of my brother's favorite tag teams ever, the Dream Team. Come back later in the show with his hair dyed black, and then induct the Honky Tonk Man as one half of Rhythm and Blues. and then DDP could drive him in with the pink Cadillac.
And then he should have hit Tito Santana with his shin guard.
Exactly. And then him and Ronnie Garvin could have the rocker dropper or the shaker breaker, whatever the fuck the stupid things were called.
Shaker breaker.
The shaker breaker. Nate, what do you think?
I think
Hammer Jammer, that's what it was.
Yes,
Breaker
right.
is like
That's right.
a protein drink.
What do you think, Nate?
I think it's a solid class. I'm happy to see the Hart Foundation as well as Harlem Heat get their due. I think tag teams a lot of times get overlooked with something like this. It's good to see China going in, at least in this way, shape, or form, because even though she deserves it, I doubt we'll see the solo induction. So at least she's getting this. And I'm happy Tori Wilson is getting in because now people can get off of Coco Beware's damn back because he is not the lowliest of Hall of Famers.
Wow. Andy, what do you think?
I think it's a good class. I'm a little surprised to see 2 tag teams going in. No shade at Harlem Heat. I just that kind of caught me off guard. I would like to have seen at least one local guy to the area. Like I was kind of pulling for this to be Bam Bam's year to go in.
I know.
You know, because he's a Asbury Park guy. I think it would have been huge. You know, with especially with the ECW following in the area. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a good class.
LT induct him.
Yeah, I think they're all deserving. I mean, we have 2 posthumous inductees this year, China and the Anvil, I believe.
Yep.
That's kind of low, unfortunately, for classes. It seems like. But yeah, I think it's a solid class, and I think it's gonna. I think more than one inductee will get involved with something this weekend, possibly Sunday.
Okay. All right. Callum, what do you think of the class?
I think it's quite a good one. I think I think Tori Wilson is one of these ones. Yes, she's probably on the Coco scale, but she's
Coco scale.
she. I mean, for the time period that she was in, she's one of the most remembered. So I think she does have her place in it. And I think they've been quite clever with the tag teams. So you can get Anvil and you can. I mean, Harlem Heat do. Both of them, Hart Foundation and Harlem Heat, deserve to get in anyway. But DX, I think, it gets China and it gets Triple H in as well. Because I don't think, given his position in the company, he's never going to get a solo induction. So he's sort of a Hall of Famer that way, without having to sort of people get any undue negative backlash for inducting himself, basically. Well, negative backlash from all but one of the people in this call, probably. I think Scott would happily have him in as many times as he could as terrorising and Jean-Paul Levesque. And
yeah, you say Triple H is not getting a solo induction. I'm saying Triple H will have a Hall of Fame class all to himself.
That's right.
It's going to be Triple H. It's going to be terrorizing Paul Levesque. They're all getting inducted together.
He'll induct himself for being the head of NXT separately.
That's right. Yep. Exactly.
The Authority gets in as a group.
The CEO of Triple H.
The corporation probably as well.
Yeah.
The corporate ministry.
The only 9-time Hall of Famer.
Oh my God! That means I got to go to 9 different WrestleManias. Oh shit!
No, it'll just be one night. He'll
Oh,
be
good.
the
All
only
right, good.
inductee.
Thank God. All right, that's way too much airfare. All right, thank God. All right, good.
Do you think now we know it's going to be tough for China to get in solo, but do we think that X-Pac or the Outlaws get in solo or solo like a team?
No.
I think any of them get in.
The Outlaws maybe. I don't know about X-Pac.
Yeah.
Is X-Pac on the Coco scale?
I'm gonna do this. Here's my quick. I'm just gonna say who I think will get inducted and who will induct them. Then we'll move on. I think Lawler's going to induct Honky because they're cousins. I think they should get Stacy Keibler to induct Tori Wilson, but it'll probably be some current diva, like I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't even know who it could be.
Alexa.
Sasha or something. Yeah, or Alexa. I think this is where we'll see Hogan. I think Hogan will induct the Brutai. Who inducts DX? I mean, think about it. Vince? Nah.
Michael Cole.
Yeah, what? Then they give him a wedgie and throw him in the shower? Perfect.
Absolutely.
Only thing he's good for anyway.
Shane?
Me?
Mike Tyson.
That would be awesome, actually. Harlem. Well, God rest her soul. We know who should have inducted her and would have gone in with her, and that is, of course, Sister Sherry. That sucks. That fucking sucks because she's perfect, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's Colonel Rob Parker, and you could drop it on the fucking podium. I think Natalia probably inducts the Harper.
I think they'll give the Harlem Heat to Big E and Xavier.
I was thinking probably New Day too. Yeah, I agree with you on that. I would have loved, but if she was alive, I bet it would have been Sherry, right? I bet it had to have been. Had to.
Well, she may have gone in with.
Yeah, she probably would have gone in with it though.
That's true. That's true. She would have gone in for a second time, actually.
Actually, no. That would have been the Hulk Hogan moment because then Hulk Hogan could have said, "Booker T, I'm coming for you." Wait a minute, brother. Turn off that camera recorder. Oh, welcome back, Terry.
Oh God, I won't be nice surprised if Justin plays it on the next Place Be podcast. All right, and then obviously Dana Warrior will induct Sue Atchison. So
yeah.
All right. Okay, let's talk about. Well, we got some time left in the A block. Let's talk about the big show on Saturday night at Madison Square Garden, and that is, of course, the G1 at Madison Square Garden on Saturday night. Ring of Honor and New Japan got. I mean, this is huge. This is huge that they, that they were able to get the Garden, obviously, because they have no problem paying the Dolans, I guess, the hefty rent, which is why Vince went to Barclays for all the other shows. Obviously, the big question here, and we won't get too deep into the matches part, obviously, but we'll get more into this. Obviously, this show does not have as much sizzle as it would have had if it had the big four, and that's obviously Cody, the Bucks, and Kenny. Not having the four of them hurts a little, but not a ton. What do you think? Let me ask Steve first. Steve, the card is good, and we'll get to the matches in a minute. But how much does it lose a little luster without having the big four there?
Ooh, let me pull up my chair and speak on this. I'm glad you went with me first. I believe that you're right in that the talk of this show will not be as big going into it because of Omega, the Bucks, and Cody not being there. That being said, and I was at that show last year, and I enjoyed it. This card blows that show away in terms of just pure depth. There was a lot of dead on that show last year. There was a lot of great stuff. There was like 4 really good matches. But even the Kenny and Cody match wasn't the best thing ever. It was pretty underwhelming. And this card, top to bottom, except kind of your pre-show matches, is blow away. And I wasn't sure what to expect going in. I wasn't sure if New Japan was just kind of half-ass it like they've done with some of their U.S. stuff. But this is mostly a New Japan card with just a few Ring of Honor things trickled in. There are 2 title unification matches, which is shocking to me. That they're going to unify the world TV title with the never open weight in Jeff Cobb versus Will Ospreay, and then they're going to combine the 2 tag team titles. And they'll be split up again, I'm sure, shortly. But the fact that they're doing like unification matches totally surprised me. And then they're doing really big New Japan matches on the show, which they haven't done them before. They're doing a heavyweight championship match with Jay White and Okada, and there's a good chance that Okada's going to win. They're doing the rematch between Ibushi and Naito, which was the first round of the New Japan Cup, which was the best match of the first round and possibly of the entire tournament. And that's going to tear the house down, and that's for a title. They haven't done this before, so they're, not just gonna have like Tanahashi come and, go through a few moves like they've done in the past. They are putting on a huge card. I think that I'm more excited to this than the show I was at.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
It's gonna be long though, just like WrestleMania.
Yeah, it is gonna be. I mean,
it's gonna be like 5 hours long, 6 hours.
Yeah, I mean,
long.
there's counting the pre-show. There's 12 matches.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep.
Yeah. So we'll go down the card real quick, and then I just want some, overall general opinions. All right, ready, Steve? Steve gets a boner for this. Kagetsu. Jenny Rose and Hazuki versus Hana Kimura, Stella Gray, and Sumi Saki. Sound like porn stars.
Sumi Sakai.
6-woman tag. What is it? Sakai?
Yeah.
I like Sumi Suki better. Sounds like porn.
It's a throwaway. I think there was a couple stardom people, but yeah, this is nothing. It's a pre-show match.
Okay. The Honor Rumble, and right now, here's who's in it. Liger. Isn't he like in everyone? He's like in every Honor Rumble, seems like. Kenny King, PJ Black, Beer City Bruiser, Brian Malonis, Cheeseburger, Rhett Titus, LSG, Shaheem Ali, Tracy Williams, and Jonathan Gresham. That's it.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot more, too.
Okay. All right, the main card. Will Ospreay and Jeff Cobb, winner take all for the never open weight in the ROH World Television title. So that might be interesting. Rush takes on Dalton Castle. Mayu Iwatani takes on Kelly Klein. Thank you. For the Women of Honor World title. Bully Ray takes on Juice Robinson in a New York City street fight, which actually I'm kind of looking forward to seeing when I get a chance to see it. Ishimori will take on Dragon Lee and Bandito in a three-way match for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title.
That match might be absolutely insane.
I think so, too. Yeah. The Guerrillas of Destiny will take on Villain Enterprises. Will take on the Briscoes. Will take on... I love doing this. You guys know this. Los Ignorables de Japón.
Very good.
Thank you. In a winner-take-all, as you mentioned, Steve, winner-take-all four-way tag for both the IWGP and the ROH World title. Zack Sabre will take on Tanahashi for the British Heavyweight title. I'm kind of stoked to hear about that match, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's the Ref Pro title. Yep.
Naito will take on Ibushi for the IWGP IC belt. Jay Lethal will defend the ROH World title in a three-way with Marty Scurll and Matt Taven. And in the main event, Jay White will defend the IWGP World title against my man, K. The real KO. That's Chico Okada. Steve, just give me... Well, we won't go through the whole card, but give me like 2 matches you're most looking forward to.
Oh, okay. I am looking forward to Ibushi versus Naito. Mm-hmm. And there's like 4 on here I really want to see. I love Zack Sabre, but I'm interested in this Bandito Ishimori Dragon Lee match. I think it's going to be a train wreck of spectacular proportions. Just like a total car crash of a match.
Right.
And like all three of them are just like flippy dudes. They can actually wrestle too. So.
Mm-hmm. Nate, what do you think? What are your thoughts overall?
I mean, this is a stacked card, and Steve mentioned it, and I think, yes, you are losing a little bit of the star power by not having the AEW guys as a part of this, but from just a wrestling show standpoint, I think this is going to be one of the highlights of WrestleMania week. I'm really interested to see what Tanahashi and Zack can do together. I want to see Naito and Ibushi. Like Steve was saying, like there's about 4 or 5 matches on here that are top notch. And being at the Garden, that's going to add to the mystique. But if you had to pin me down to 2, I'd probably say Naito and Ibushi, and I think the ROH ladder match for the World Championship is going to be pretty good.
Okay, Andy, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with these guys. I'm not really up on the ROH since the TV deal ended, but all that on paper sounds solid. So I defer to our indie expert, Mr. Willie. I will follow his judgment and try to catch up the matches once they're available online.
We follow Steve Willie's judgment on life. So if we can do that, then we obviously do it.
I'm sorry.
Johnny, I'll save you for last. Callum, what are your overall thoughts? What matches are striking your fancy?
I'm the same as Andy. I'm not up on my Ring of Honor. I'm looking forward to seeing the 3-way ladder match. Purely because I'm a big fan of Marty. So I'm hoping he leaves champion. I think he will. And Naito and Ibushi. That's just going to be a ridiculous match. It's going to be absolutely brilliant. So that's my two.
Okay. All right. Johnny, you got pick of the litter here, brother.
Well, I'll be there. So
yes, nice.
I do think Naito and Ibushi is probably going to be the match of the weekend. If you go back to their G1 from last year, or the New Japan Cup from this year, like Willie mentioned, it's just these guys basically kill each other. In the matches are so good that they actually make you uncomfortable at times. Mm-hmm. But my second pick is the main event, which has to be Okada Jay White. I think that could be a hell of a match.
Will you catch a streamer for me?
I'll try.
Yeah.
Good. I think Okada's going to win. I think he's going to win. I think actually Jay White's going to. I'm not a huge Jay White fan. But that doesn't mean I don't think he'll put on a good match. But I think New Japan wants to see Okada hold up the belt, do the Rainmaker pose, and the streamers are falling down at the Garden. I think that's what New Japan wants. I think that's what ROH wants too. I think they want that vision of Okada holding up the belt in the Rainmaker pose with the streamers falling down at the world's most famous arena. I don't think there's any question. They want to trump Takeover. They're not going to trump WrestleMania, but they want to try and outdo Takeover, which is entirely possible. Johnny, you were saying that this may be on demand and get it digitally, but I'm hoping that they put this on a DVD because I definitely want this card. So
they will. They will.
I definitely want this on DVD.
Yeah, it's live on a few places. You can get New Japan World, the ROH. You can get on Fight TV. I think you can get it on traditional pay-per-view, and it will be out on TV through ROH.
I'm sure ROH will put it in their library because I definitely want this. Kevin's very lucky. We tried to get Kevin tonight. He's very lucky. The only other thing that makes me excited is I hope Meltzer gets mugged when he's outside the Garden.
All right, I'll try to do that for you.
Thank you. Well, he thinks every match is 62 stars. This fucking mullet. I know he doesn't have a mullet anymore, but he probably should. All right. Gentlemen, tremendous.
He'll give the mugging 3 stars, not enough work rate.
As they run away.
Wasn't a lot of storytelling in that mugging.
Story is going, no, not enough stars. Well, he's getting pissed with that. No, anyway.
The finisher botched.
Yeah, he tripped over the mugger tripped over the peanut bodega.
You should have stuck the gun in my side, not in my arm. Come on.
Shoot himself in the leg like Plax.
There was no psychology to the mugging.
Oh, God. All right.
Why do you need this money?
Oh, God. Any event. Wow, look at that. Look at this crew. Holy cow. Jesus, Steve. What the fuck is he wearing? Oh, my God. We have to put that picture up somewhere. Anyway, all right. Put it up.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. Steve Willie.
Weber and I found Meltzer at some of the indie shows at New Orleans. And,
my God.
Acid wash jeans and a tie-dye hoodie with an alien on it.
Might as well put Bix on the front of it. Anyway, Steve Willie, you have to leave us. Breaks my heart. But we will talk. Steve, you'll be back next week. And, of course, as you always are. And we will talk post-mortem. We'll talk about the New Japan show. Johnny, maybe you'll join us. Well, you're still on for the rest of the show, but maybe we'll have Johnny on to get a live feel of that show. And we will talk next week. Guys, when we return, we will now go to the big show. We'll go to Sunday night at MetLife and break down 35th edition of the Showcase of Champions. Brother Scott with Nate, Andy, Callum, Big Johnny. Bye, Steve. I miss you. WrestleMania. After this.
Break it down. They generate into something fool. We just got tired of doing what you told us to do. That's a break, boy. Yeah, that's a break, little man. Break it down. They generation up. They generation. Thank you.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
PlayStation Nation's Justin Rosero and Chad Kimball here, and we want to let you know that we have a ton of great podcasts available to you on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and PlayStation.com, and we now offer them to you on 2 great feeds. On the PlayStation Wrestling feed, we bring you the Mothership, the Place to Be podcast, Main Event, Survey Says, Wrestling Warzone, a Monday Night Wars podcast retrospective, No Holds Barred, Jeff Learns Wrestling, and our monthly pay-per-view reaction shows. On top of that, we're also dipping into the vault, re-releasing the entire catalog of where the big boys play for your enjoyment. In addition to these full-length shows, we also deliver special network pod blasts on topics old and new.
The Place to Be Nation Pop feed is loaded with great content, offering such tremendous shows covering the land of pop culture, such as Geek and Sassy, Talkin' Pop, the Glenn Butler Podcast Hour Spectacular, Sunday Groove, PTBN Play, Freak Out Drive-In, Songs with Friends, Looking Forward, Looking Back, and Lucha Undead, as well as a veritable podcast heaven for comics fans with the hard-traveling fanboys, Sellers Points, Conversation Comics, DC Post-Crisis Management, Marvel Age, and Marvel Age Masterclass, plus weekly pod blasts that cover the gamut of comic topics. The feed is also filled with insightful sports content, including the NBA team, This Week in the NFL, and more.
And you can find all these current shows, plus archives of our past podcasts, including The Kevin Kelly Show, as well by subscribing to both feeds on iTunes. And while there, be sure to rate and leave feedback as well. All of these shows, plus others available at PlayStation.com. We cover pro wrestling, sports, movies, comics, in-depth stretch projects, and more. Be sure to support our site by using PlayStation.com/Amazon while doing your online shopping. And download our free PTB Vintage Vault Refresh ebooks via the links on our site. We also want to thank our friends at Boneheads Wing Bar, ProWrestlingOnly.com, and TheHistoryOfWrestling.com. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Tumblr as well. PlayStation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.
Welcome back to Place to Be Nation's Main Event, episode 123. It's easy as ABC. Of course, the Godfather, back at you with Scotty, Johnny, Andy, Callum, Ronnie, Bobby, Ricky, and Mike. We got in-laws, outlaws, crooks, and straights this week, folks. But we're not doing the Boot Scoop Boogie. We're doing the Kofi Mania Conga, Scotty.
Yes, and we'll be talking about the Conga very shortly, because we will now, here in the B block, thank you, Steve Willie, you're awesome. He had to slide out, but as we talked about Friday and Saturday.
Much like Poochie, Steve Willie had to return to his home planet.
Yes. Yes. But now, gentlemen, it's time for us to talk about it. And that is, as Ed Sullivan would say, most of the listeners are like, who the fuck is that? But that's fine. The really big show coming up on Sunday. But before we do that, let's talk about things going on around here, there, and everywhere. Busy week on the PTBN feed. I copyrighted that. A little something for everyone, as always. Mr. Atherton.
Yes.
You actually watched a horror movie, you motherfucker. How about that, huh?
I do like some horror movies.
The newest Freak Out Drive-In, you and Jenny, Who Can I Turn To? As they live watched Dawn of the Dead, which is actually a tremendous horror movie. So very good for you. Excellent. Mm-hmm. Russell and Sam were back with a new 90s to Nothing, dissecting the classic Thelma and Louise. Yeah, I guess that's classic. You and I, Mr. Atherton, joined Jenny, Who Could I Turn To? On this quarter's Looking Forward, Looking Back, as we dove into the films released in the back end. That was a very excellent show, by the way. Tremendous. Mm-hmm.
Good time.
So please check that out. Jenny, she's Jesus Christ. I fucking God. She joined Russell in a new installment of DC Post-Crisis Management as they talked Flashpoint. Selfie Steve and Kelly were in the house with the new Songs with Friends. Oh, Selfie Steve. As they broke down Just My Imagination, great song, and Hard to Concentrate. And finally, Jenny was... finally, a show she's not on. Todd was joined by JD, Jordan Duncan, and a look at Netflix's Abducted in Plain Sight on the newest Binge Please. Mr. Atherton, I'll hop on this with you. A new contest being held over on Looking Forward, Looking Back, if you may allow me, sir. We'll be doing a new summer movie wager based on how well you think you can predict this summer's movie releases will do at the domestic box office, not the world, just here in the U.S. What you need to do is pick the top 10 movies in order of how you think they will finish in domestic box office gross. You will also need to include 3 wildcard picks as well as which movie you think will be the biggest bomb of the summer. Send your picks to what is this? Oh, LFLBpop@gmail.com. LFLBpop@gmail.com by Monday, April 22nd. Any movie that is released on or after the 26th is eligible. So yes, Endgame will count, with the tally ending on Labor Day, September 2nd. The winner of the contest gets to be on a future episode of Laugh in Theater and pick Caddyshack 2. Awesome.
If they pick it, I got to do it.
No, I'm kidding. You can pick anything you want.
Yeah.
So there you go. So I'm looking forward to that, actually.
That was much better than Geek and Sassy's read this week. It was hysterical. I recommend listening just for that.
Yeah. Over on the wrestling feed, newest place to be podcast, myself and my PIC. We're joined by Peter Winson. We took a look back at the March 1989 Saturday night's main event. Nick and Greg delivered the newest What If. They examined a world where CM Punk didn't leave after the 2014 Royal Rumble. We continue our dip into where the big boys play vault. Chad and Parv look at Starcade 1987. And, of course, be sure to check out PlaceMeNation.com, Mr. Atherton. Things back up and running. Plenty of projects, reviews to come. Content will be picking right back up in the days and weeks ahead. Plenty of wrestling, post-WrestleMania stuff as well. And finally, be sure to give a like to the PTBN Greatest Candy Tournament Facebook page so you can participate in daily polls as we determine which candy is indeed the greatest of all time. The polls also go out via Twitter. We are now into round 2, close to round 3, right, Andy? We're getting in?
Yeah, round 3 starts on the 5th.
Okay.
So depending on when this goes up, round 3 may have been started already.
May already started. And Easter Sunday will crown, in my opinion, Reese's Peanut Butter Cups as the champ. But that's just me. That's
quite
just
possible.
Me. Quite possible. All right. And there you go. So there's all the fun stuff that's up and will be going up. All right, guys. The really big show. This Sunday at MetLife. We're walking back in the building after 6 years. Myself. 15 matches. 15 matches. 3 on the pre-show, 12 proper. The official pre-show matches are Buddy Murphy will be defending the Cruiserweight Championship against Tony Nese. We'll have the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal and the WrestleMania Women's Battle Royal. They get a trophy and most likely, I'm sure, some title shot of some sort. All right. Before we dive into the matches, Callum, what have you thought? What have you thought about the build so far? Let's say starting after the Rumble to now. Thumbs up, thumbs down? In general, everything. All encompassing. What do you think?
Well, I think they've done... I would probably give it a thumbs up. They've done well with a lot of the big matches on it. Obviously, some stuff's getting added in, still getting added in this week. Guys are still getting added in at the Battle Royal and the SmackDown tag. But I think overall, I would give it a thumbs up. You look at the build up to the triple threat and then Kofi Mania running wild. I think I think it's been generally good stuff.
What do you think, Brother Nate?
I'd probably give it a thumbs in the middle, trending upward. I think that the big programs have landed. You know, when you talk about Kofi and Bryan, when you talk about Seth and Brock, and the women's program, which is our main event, even though I think they might have had a little bit too much time with the women and tried to get a little too cute with the storytelling. For the most part, they stuck the landing. So hadn't been perfect. You know, storytelling really is. But I would say on the whole, it's been good to decent. So, you know, somewhere in that middle range, but certainly not the worst build to a WrestleMania we've seen.
Mm-hmm. Now, Johnny, you are, of course, in my eyes, the master of storytelling. I feel like I'm going to ask you a specific question. Callum talked about one of the two big men's matches, and that, of course, being Kofi and Daniel Bryan, and we'll get picks later. But I feel like Brock and Seth has been, for the most part, ignored. And I'm not going to use Brock not being around as a reason, because we've had Brock feuds where he's kind of half-assed it, like every feud the last 5 years. And we've been fine with it. But I think in this case, I feel like specifically Seth and Brock has been relatively ignored. Do you agree with that or no?
To an extent. Obviously, if you take the big three matches, it is the one that's gotten the least attention. But the thing is it has Paul Heyman, and he could sell anything. So the thing is that even if it didn't get the attention, all you need is Heyman to go out there a couple times, and it's already back towards the top of the card.
Mm-hmm. Right. What do you think, Andy? Do you think Seth and Brock has been relatively ignored?
I don't think it needed that much build-up to begin with. I think it's been a long time coming for Seth, making his way back to the top of the mountain. You know, we're looking for somebody to take down Brock. The other matches needed the build. I mean, the whole Kofi thing came out of nowhere. They caught lightning in a bottle. And the women's match, that's been a story told, for months now with the man over there. So I don't think it needed the build. It's kind of built in. And plus, like Johnny said, you got Heyman. Heyman could sell us on the fucking pre-show, for Christ's sake. He just has to come out, give a if I may, with your permission, and then give his whole Heyman spiel, and we're sold. He'll have us eating out of the palm of his hand. Mm-hmm. All you need to hear is, ladies and gentlemen, and your attention is there.
Right. Speaking of, and we'll get to the match itself, I really want to mention her because I don't want to miss her. Callum, because she's from your part of the globe. What have you thought of the man as she's kind of gotten, because she's had to share the spotlight more than she probably should have to. But you think she's held her own?
Oh, definitely. I think, they were probably going to go. You probably have two of the three people, and they were going to be in the main event. You've got to think that they were going to go with Ronda and Charlotte, but Becky's just grabbed the bull by the horns and put herself there. Ever since Survivor Series, I was looking for her to be in the main event. I think everyone was. They were never going to have a women's main event of WrestleMania without Charlotte Flair in it. To be very honest, but I mean, it is what it is. She shared the spotlight, but she's sort of shone more than the other two, I think, because she's just been brilliant in these last few months.
Yeah. What do you think, Nate? Do you think that the man has held her own, considering she's had to share this build more than she probably should have had to? Because I think we've all kind of thought, for the most part, that this should have been Ronda and Becky alone. Now, is Charlotte great? Damn right she is. But she was put in this when a lot of people thought, I don't really think we need her. Now Callum thinks she's needed in the main event. Having said that, has Becky been able to get her point across while having to share this highway to MetLife?
I think so. I think there's been very few missteps with this entire run for Becky. I wasn't over the moon with her go-home promo, but that aside, I think they've done a great job with her, and she's done a great job being put in this position. When it comes to Charlotte, I think Charlotte needed to be there, not so much for Becky, but for Ronda, because I don't think Ronda could have carried this without having Charlotte. Charlotte takes a lot of the weight to bear off of Ronda's shoulders. And, I think Charlotte, like Callum was saying, you can't have this main event without Charlotte, who has been one of the trailblazers for this new women's movement that we've seen. And, she's objectively the most complete woman on the roster and maybe the most complete character, male or female, on the roster. So I think this is going to be Becky's moment, but Charlotte definitely need to be part of the equation, I think.
I think they've done a fantastic job promoting the fact that they're going to be last and it's more than just because the fans wanted it. I feel like they fit anyway, because like I know that in 2014 when the fans pretty much forced them to switch things up and put Daniel Bryan in, they didn't really. They kind of had to push things forward a little bit and make it work. Whereas here, I feel like even if there wasn't the extra crowd excitement for this match being last, that I think having it last would have helped anyway. I don't think any other match on this card. I feel like they purposely kind of made the rest of the card almost level, because I can't think of one match on this other than that match on this card that should go last. Like at WrestleMania 30, they kind of, they were able to maneuver things around a little bit and make the last match better. But there were some other matches at 30 that could have gone there. You could have had Brock. You particularly could have had Brock Taker last, knowing that Brock was going to break the streak. Might have been able to have it last. But obviously, you didn't. They could have done that if Daniel Bryan was not involved in any of the other matches. You could have done that last. But here, you look at the rest of this card, as great as these matches are, none of them are better juice-wise than the triple threat.
I think maybe Kofi Bryan comes close, but the thing with Kofi Bryan is we've only had a 2-month build.
That's what it is.
Whereas this Becky story has been the story that we've been telling for the better part of, a year, half a year. So I think Bryan Kofi is going to be the second hottest match on the card. Yep. Maybe the hottest match, depending on how the fans react. But this should be Becky's moment. I
agree. And I think, when we get to picks, I'll get into some of the specifics. But why don't we start the picks, because we got a fucking ton of matches to do. So why don't we dive in? We'll try and keep it a couple sentences each, so so we can get through all of it. All right, we'll start with the pre-show. Buddy Murphy defending the Cruiserweight Championship against Tony Nese. I don't know if Tony Nese is kind of turning face. I don't know. But Buddy Murphy's been a great champion. Callum, I'll start with you. Who do you like?
I think Tony Nese might take this one. I think Buddy's been great since he won the title. He's been great since he went on to 205, but I think this might be Tony Nese's time, because I think he's a local boy, is he not? Is he not from New York somewhere?
Nese?
Yeah.
Is he from Long Island? Let me see. You might be right. Good call. Or is he from Philly? Oh, he's from Ridge. Where the hell's Ridge? Oh, Ridge is in Long Island. Well, he lives in Long Island.
Right.
Where's Ridge? Andy, help me out here.
Oh,
it's in Suffolk County. Yeah, he's a Long Island.
I'm not D'Amato.
That's true. You're from Westchester. So, yes. He's a Long Island boy. So, yeah, he is the local guy, Callum. So, entirely possible. All right. So, we got a Tony Nese one. Andy, what do you like?
This is the one program I'm not as up on as the rest. I'm just going to go Buddy Murphy. I think he's going to lose it to, as much as good as Nese I've seen has been. I think when Murphy loses it, he's going to lose it to a bigger name. I think it's going to be maybe an open challenge or a surprise. Somebody maybe coming up from NXT out of nowhere. I think Buddy's going to retain it, and his time will come. I think there's going to be a lot of other titles changing hands. I think that night. So I'm going to go with Buddy Murphy to retain.
Okay. All right, Johnny, what do you think?
I'm going to have to agree and go with Buddy Murphy. I just don't see them making Tony Nese the face of that brand. I think Buddy's kind of got it locked down for now. I don't think it'd be a smart move to take it off of him.
Okay. And who have I? Brother, who did I forget? Who? Nate? What? Oh, you, brother.
To steal a catchphrase, a tagline from an 80s toy, Scotty, my buddy, wherever he goes, I'm going to go. My buddy and me. I'm going with Buddy Murphy. No disrespect to Tony Nese, who's been doing some good work lately, but I don't think the story's hot enough, and I think Buddy's been doing such a good job that a lot of folks didn't expect that, this is kind of his reward to retain at WrestleMania.
Okay. All right, so we got 3 Buddy Murphys and a Tony Nese. Okay. All right, let's go to the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royale. Here is who's in the Battle Royal. We have Braun Strowman, Michael Che, Colin Yost. God. Apollo Crews, Titus O'Neil, Tyler Breeze, Jinder Mahal, No Way Jose, Bobby Roode. Good grief. Chad Gable, Kalisto, Grand Metalik, as Amaro says. Grand Metalik. Lince Dorado, Bo Dallas, Curtis Axel, Heath Slater, Rhino, Victor, Connor, Andrade, Ali, Shelton Benjamin, Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson, both Hardys, Otis, Tucker, and EC3. Wow. That's rough. Who thinks Gronk's going to win it? No, I'm only kidding.
I was about to say.
Andy, what do you like?
I got to go Braun again, unless it's a surprise entrant that comes out of nowhere. But it's Braun's Battle Royale to lose, if you could say that.
Callum, what do you think?
When I did my picks this morning, I picked Andrade. I think because Braun's been in it a couple of times and he's always been the big guy has to win that never wins. So yeah, I thought a wee bit outside the box with that one.
Okay, Andrade, I like that pick. All right, Johnny, what do you think?
I'm gonna have to agree with that pick. I think he's in for big things this year, and I think this is a good start for it. But if I were to pick a surprise pick, it might be Bray Wyatt.
Okay, that's interesting. Nate?
This is a meaningless battle royal, so I'm going to go for what makes me laugh the most. And what would make me laugh the most is Michael Che winning it. And here's the scenario. Braun Strowman gets eliminated fooling around with Jost, but Jost's feet don't touch the floor. So Jost comes back in, heals it up, he thinks he's won, and Michael Che turns on his broadcast partner and wins this meaningless battle royal.
As much as that would make me so angry, it actually makes perfect sense. I think that's the sad part. I have a feeling this is going to be the last time. And it's no disrespect. It's so great to name something after the eighth wonder of the world. But I have a feeling this might be the last time you see this battle royal.
Give it some stakes. That's all they had to do. Give it some stakes.
Yeah. You got to give...
I don't want to say stupid trophy because I don't want to disrespect the Giant. But the trophy doesn't mean anything because there's nothing material attached to it. There's no title shot. There's no bigger profile on the show. So why are we doing this?
I agree. I think we're all kind of programmed that anything with a bunch of with like multiple people in it needs to be for something. That's just how we've been programmed. It goes back to the Rumble. So, all right, the women's battle royal. Let us see. All right. Let us begin. Oh, first, let me give you the participants. There's not a lot of them. There's only 13 women in that battle royal. Dana Brooke, Mickie James, Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan, Sarah Logan, Asuka, fucking shame, Carmella, Naomi, Lana, Mandy, Sonya, Zelina Vega, and Nikki Cross. Callum, I'll start with you. Before you make your pick, are you upset that Asuka dropped the belt and is now stuck in this? And then make your pick.
Well, yes and no. I mean, was there really going to be a big match for her on the main card? Maybe not. It does add another wee bit of juice to the main event, but to see her drop it and then relegated to a pre-show battle royal in 2 weeks or however long it's been is a travesty. Maybe exaggerating a wee bit that it's a travesty, but it's. I mean, this is somebody that won the Royal Rumble last year. Was in the women one of the women's main events last year, and now she's in the pre-show battle royal. That being said, I think it's hers to lose. I think to redeem her a wee bit. I think she's going to be the last woman standing on this one.
Okay. So you like her to win it? Okay.
Yeah.
Johnny, what do you think? And what are your thoughts on what are your thoughts on the whole Asuka thing with the belt and all that jazz? And then who do you like in the match?
Well, I think taking the title off Asuka was completely unnecessary. Granted, they didn't have many opponents, but I think you could have had a pretty decent match between her and Nikki Cross, possibly. But as far as her winning it, I don't think there's any question unless I don't think I heard the name unless they decide to put Lacey Evans in there. But they may have.
Oh, good grief! Jesus Christ, I hope not. Oh my God, she is greener than grass.
Yeah, but you know what? They think of her.
Just don't put her in the beginning and make her actually have to do anything. Putting her where she was in the Rumble was a huge mistake. Huge mistake. Callum, you were going to say something?
Yeah, I think I'm just seeing that she could have put Nikki Cross in, and I think I'm risking having my passport taken off me for saying that Nikki Cross isn't going to be a big match for her. So I've treading a thin line there.
Okay. All right. Nate, your thoughts on the Asuka situation and your pick?
It's unfortunate they really bungled her main roster run from the start. But I understand why they did it, because it's what's best for business. It's to the event, to the historic nature of this thing. And I think they want to consolidate those titles as we get closer to the Fox launch in the fall. So in a perfect world, Asuka would win it, but Johnny stole my thunder a bit. I think this is where Lacey Evans' spot comes in. I think she's going to walk out earlier, do her usual stick, walk back, and then come back out later and end up winning the Battle Royal.
Okay. Andy, your thoughts on Asuka losing the belt and her situation in this match, and then who do you like in the match?
Yeah. Hey, I'm going to go with Asuka real quick. So hold on with Scott. Give me a second. Sorry. Just go continue on. Sorry.
Oh, we love live television, everyone. Or live.
We'll do it live.
We'll do it live. All right, we'll get back to Andy in a minute on that. So he likes Asuka, and then we'll ask about that later. Okay. All right. We are out of the pre-show, and now it is time to go to 7 o'clock Eastern Time and do the proper card. WrestleMania 35. All right. Let's begin. I'll start at the bottom of the list on Wikipedia and work my way up. Okay. We got 12 matches on the main card with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 titles. I think they're all on the line, right? Both big titles, both tags. No, the Raw tag is not on the line yet. Oh, no. I'm sorry. The women's title. So we have the women's tag and the SmackDown tag, not the Raw tag. We have both secondary titles and, of course, the 2 big titles. All right. Let's do the non-title matches first. All right. Let's start with the big guy first. Why don't we just get it out of the way right now? Roman Reigns, Drew McIntyre. Straight up, 2 Haases battling it out. Now, this is an interesting situation because obviously both guys will be talked about in a few months when we get into Money in the Bank, because obviously the briefcase is very important in 2019 based on the 2 belts. Obviously, as we get through the year and we get closer, as Nate said, to the Fox launch for SmackDown, booking is going to be very interesting. And where they kind of, direct stuff as we get to, I think it's October. So having said that, I was saying to somebody at work today, the other day, well, I guess it was today, that I think the loser of this match wins the Money in the Bank. And the one who wins doesn't. So, because I've said for a while that I think Drew McIntyre is going to win the Money in the Bank. However, it'd be nice for him to win this match. Yet, Roman's got all the emotion on his side and the new T-shirt that goes to the Leukemia Society. And so, do we just give Roman this match because it's kind of meant to be, and then Drew gets rewarded with Money in the Bank later? Callum, I'll start with you. What do you think?
Yeah, I think Roman's going to win this one. He's got sort of he's unbelievable comeback from his terrible news. I mean, my heart is saying that Drew's going to win, but my head's saying that I need to go with my head on this one. I'd love to see your prediction come true, though, Scott. I think if McIntyre does win the Money in the Bank, I think it would be brilliant. And I think this match might be, like we were talking earlier about Rollins and Lesnar not having as much of a build as maybe the triple threat.
Mm-hmm.
This has had this. I think Roman coming back.
Yep.
Has had an impact on that as well, because that's where Seth's focus has been. But yeah, to go back to the prediction, Roman Reigns every day of the week. I think it's going to win this one.
Johnny, what do you think? It's your boy.
That'll be nice. No, I don't think there's any question that Roman is winning this one. But to your point, I think further down with Money in the Bank and this year, I think this is Drew's year.
Yeah, I concur too. For the Neat, what do you think?
Scotty, the brother beat cancer. Ain't no way he's losing to a former TNA Grand Champion at WrestleMania. it's not happening. Roman's gonna win this, and to Callum's point, I think, not only has the story gotten kind of diverted between Seth and Brock because Roman's back faster than anybody expected, but I also think maybe from the company standpoint, they might not want to pull the trigger on Seth now that Roman's back, because as we all know, Vince McMahon is not an Avenger, but Roman Reigns is his end game.
Yeah. Somebody was telling me, again, I was talking to a coworker of mine, and we were talking about this, and we're like, I don't know what is stuck in Vince's head about the fact that Roman and Brock need to be the only two guys that ever wrestle each other. I don't know what the deal is. Is it like Martina and Chris Evert? Is it like fucking Duke and Carolina, the Yankees, Red Sox? Why do they have to wrestle like 965 times? I don't understand. The match is not going to get any better.
No.
So I don't get it. It's making us. Why does he want to do this? Doesn't he get the more you do this, the more that the Bloom. We're so happy that Roman's healthy. There's no doubt about it. Wrestling or no wrestling, he's not dead, and that's good. But eventually, the Bloom's gonna fall off this rose, and eventually we're gonna go back to Roman being booed because Vince, once again, can't just let shit happen. He's got to maneuver and meander, and all the bullshit that he hated Shawn Michaels doing from 1995 to 1997, he's doing right now. He's meandering and playing the chessboard to force another Brock Roman match somewhere down the line. Instead of just letting shit happen, that's what we're getting.
Depending on what Brock does, Scotty, it would not shock me if we got Brock Roman at SummerSlam.
Yeah, I probably.
Because that's what Vince wants.
I don't get it. I don't get it. Why? Well, we'll cross that bridge. I mean, does he think that maybe? I mean, this conversation will continue throughout the summer here on Main Event, throughout the next 4 or 5 months. We don't have to dive into it now, but I mean, as we get closer to that, to the launch on Fox, is Brock going to have? Is that belt going to be moved over and the leather is going to be changed from red to blue? It's going to look like the old NWA tag belts. We can have blue leather. What do you think, Andy?
Well, not to top Nate. But the man beat cancer. He ain't losing at WrestleMania to a former member of 3MB.
See, you don't have this. You don't have the same. Oh, he said 3MB. That's like, well, a former WWE champion was in 3MB,
but he didn't beat Roman Reigns.
So, yeah, that's true.
No, I think if it was any other pay-per-view, I would say Drew. But this screams WrestleMania moment because this is Roman. His return, his first big match on the big stage. You can't not put him over on this. You can't have, at the end of that match in that MetLife, which some of us are going to be there, that place is going to explode. That could be one of the biggest pops of the night. And it's sad that it took him, getting sick and being Joe for a while to really get embraced by the fans finally.
Right. All right. Now, do we see Roman any other time after this? Any other time tonight? Wherever this match falls, do we see him after the match in the show elsewhere? Do you think he just wins the match and that's it for the night?
Like run out and congratulate Seth?
Maybe if he wins.
Yeah, I can see if Seth wins, he comes out to congratulate him, and if Seth loses and we get some post-match shenanigans, I could see him coming out to defend Seth, which sets up SummerSlam, Brock and Lesnar.
Oh my
Brock
God.
and Reigns.
Yep. Brock. It's like when when they do like the Riddick Bowe Evander Holyfield fights 1, 2, 3. It's like get ready for Brock Roman 26. I mean, so all right. Next up, a match that I think is actually going to be unheralded, and I think it's going to fly under the radar, which I think might be one of the most entertaining matches of the show because both these guys are very good when one definitely is, but one also is when people don't really think it when the light shines brightest, and that is AJ Styles against Randy Orton. Everybody likes to fucking shit on Randy Orton, but let me tell you something. Randy Orton is like the modern day Ultimate Warrior, and no, not because his promos are illegible, and his tights really aren't that really pretty either. But the problem is Roman. Now we're gonna get Roman out of my fucking head now. Johnny, help me out here. You're good at getting him out of my head. Randy Orton is not a bad wrestler. I've said that forever on this show. He is not a bad wrestler. I'm fucking tired of him getting bashed. Roman's, I did it again. Orton's problem is, Orton's problem is, he gets a little lazy when the opponent is somebody that he could kind of get away with being lazy with. You cannot get lazy with AJ Styles. There's no doubt about that. Johnny, I know you're not the biggest Orton fan. I know you love AJ. But
that's true.
Pick your winner, and can this match get to 3.5 stars? Maybe even 4. What do you think?
Absolutely. I think, but to your point, it depends which Randy Orton we get.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's really 2 Randy Ortons. There's the guy who could push those matches to 4 stars, and then there's the guy who kind of phones it in. And I think that's why people hate him sometimes.
Right.
Because we know he could be better.
Mm-hmm.
But I think AJ's going over. I think there's more longevity in AJ at this point than there is Orton, even though AJ is a little older. But I think it's going to be a hell of a match.
Okay. All right. Nate, what do you think?
I think this is going to be a really good match. It's not going to steal the show because this card is stacked, but I do think it's going to be a very good match. Randy Orton is a guy that, we've talked about it here on the main event plenty of times, Scotty. Randy Orton is somebody that is perfectly serviceable in every facet of wrestling.
Right.
He can talk. He's got a great finishing move. He looks the part of a wrestling superstar.
Right.
But he has to be motivated, and I think he will be for AJ Styles at WrestleMania. And I think Randy's going over because I think AJ can absorb the loss, and if something happens later in the card, I think Randy's going to have a bigger spot to go to following this show.
Okay. Andy, what do you think?
Well, if you go based on SmackDown, the go home SmackDown, Randy went over with that, AJ goes for the, the elbow, flying forearm, and gets the RKO out of nowhere. I think AJ's taking it. I think Randy can absorb the loss, and Randy's kind of bulletproof. He wins, he loses. It doesn't really change him. I agree with you. He's a very good wrestler, but he's really not relying. He's not relying on it, but they're really just everything about him is the RKO out of nowhere. So as long as he hits that friggin' move, he's good. Doesn't matter if it's in a match, in a run-in, in a segment with like a talk show or whatever. Randy is Randy, and he'll be Randy, win or lose. And I think AJ is going to win because AJ, I think, is going to be moving over brands come the fall, and I think he'll be in the title hunt come then.
Okay. All right, Callum, what do you think?
I think this could be an absolutely fantastic match. It was one of these ones when you first heard the rumour. I think AJ might have still been the champion at the time. His Mania match is going to be Randy Orton. You're like, oh, it's not the best. It's not one that really sticks out as a dream match sort of thing. But I think the bill's been brilliant, and it's 2 guys who can as everyone was saying earlier, when Orton is in with a good guy and is motivated, he can pull out a great match. I think AJ takes it. Because I think he's had a run a few losses after losing the title to Bryan, but I could easily go with Orton having a crazy RKO counter from something that AJ does, a bit like Punk at 27 or that Rollins one. So this one could go either way, but I think my pick's AJ for this one.
Okay. All right. I just think that I think this is gonna be our opener. By the way, I think it's gonna open the show. I do. And a lot of people forget. You go back to Levi in 2015, and people only seem to remember. They only seem to remember Seth cashing in at the end of the night, but his match with Orton on that show was very good. And AJ's probably maybe 2 notches above Seth in the talent department. So I think we're in. And I know Orton's 4 years older, but that doesn't really matter in this case. So all right. So I think that's gonna be our opener. All right. Shane McMahon and The Miz. We knew this was coming out of, pretty straightforward out of nowhere. It was not out of nowhere. We knew it was coming. It's a Falls Count Anywhere, which I think this is the first time we've ever seen this gimmick in a place that seats 80,000 fucking people. So I'm kind of perplexed why they would do that. I mean, wow. I mean, we're in the 200s. Friggin' Andy, you're on the floor. They may pin you at your feet.
I know.
I don't want to get into the feud. Let's just get right into who we like and how we think the match is going to be. Nate, what do you think?
Good story. It's going to be a average match at best. Shane's going to get a crazy stunt, but I think, you know what? I'm changing my mind because I think this is going to be a show heavily featuring babyface wins. So I think Shane's going to take this one to continue this story.
All right. Andy, what do you think?
I'm going to go Miz on this. Miz has just been on fire, and the build-up for him as a face has been tremendous. And, Shane can take a loss anytime. I mean, Shane's, he was the best in the world. Yeah, they were tag champs, but Shane's not winning any belts. I mean, Vince took all the losses when, he was more active like Shane is now. And I think the Miz goes over, and I think it's Falls Count Anywhere so Shane can do that spot. But, I don't think they have anywhere set up. Like, there's no Hell in a Cell. There's no crazy setup at the ring. So I think he's going to be over by the entrance where the players come in and maybe do a dive or something off of there. The first TLC match back at the Garden, I'm thinking. Mm-hmm. So, I'm going with the Miz.
Okay. Callum, what do you think?
I'm going with the Miz as well. I think he's been brilliant now for a long while. I don't think there's been anyone that's benefited for the brand split more than Miz. I mean, that's gone back a wee while, but he has been fantastic for a couple of years now. The Falls Count Anywhere set up for a crazy Shane stunt, but I think it's one of these ones. Shane McMahon is always in a premier spot on Mania, so it's not the worst position for the Miz to be in. And I think after this, the Miz wins, and he goes on to SummerSlam to face Bryan for the title eventually.
I agree. I actually think we'll get more into Nate, you, Steve, and I will get more into this discussion in the coming episodes. But I think Miz does win the world title at some point this year. Johnny, what do you think?
I definitely think the Miz is going over. I think it's going to be a fun match. I'm hoping for a recreation of WrestleMania 12 Piper Goldust. I just want Brawl to continue throughout the night.
You want somebody to get hit by a car? That'd be tremendous.
I do, absolutely.
That'd be wild. Now, Andy, I'm hoping somebody gets pinned at your feet. That'd be great.
Well, I think we're in 142F. So I don't know if you look on the shooting charts to see if there's any chance of us getting involved. kind of like when at ECW when we were third row at a house show and Bubba Ray Dudley was at my feet.
That's funny. Well, he might be on John's feet, or he might be on somebody's feet Friday night, but we already talked about that. Okay. All right. I think I got everybody. Okay. All right. We're going to say farewell to my PIC, Mr. Azzero's favorite wrestler of all time. He's got, I think 3 of his T-shirts. But we finally will say farewell to the in-ring career of WWE Hall of Famer, Kurt Angle. And he'll be taking on Baron Corbin. Why? Who the hell knows? But Baron Corbin can eat pins because no one fucking cares. Andy, who wins? And is there more to this match than meets the eye?
Much like the Transformers.
I knew it. I fucking softballed you there, kid. That was well done. Very impressed. Megatron's not running out to wrestle Kurt Angle.
No, but you never know about Starscream. So I think it's going to be a squash. Although Corbin, a lot of people give him shit, but he's actually been pretty good in the ring. I mean, he's got. I do like a couple of his moves. I'm a big fan of the kind of swinging, the Blue Thunder Bomb or how the Boss Man Slam, those moves that kind of you swing a guy around a lot and you get a good nice fall, and he's been pulling them off. Mm-hmm. But I think it's a squash. I don't know if we get a Cena or we get somebody else to come in, and maybe they put Kurt over even more on the way out. I mean, Cena is apropos, where that would kind of bookend. Oh, well, it's not Cena one retiring, but Cena came out and did the the whole ruthless aggression thing on Angle many years ago on his debut. But I think if anybody comes out at Cena, and it's going to be a squash, Kurt's going over. You suck is going to be chanted throughout MetLife in a good way.
Mm-hmm. All right, Callum, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't get the Corbin thing. If it's going to be Corbin he's facing, it will be a quick, well, maybe not a quick squash match, but it'll be a squash. Corbin's not going to get much in. It'll be the Angle greatest hits, and then you get the emotional standing ovation right at the end. It might not be Corbin. I think if you could get a surprise. I mean, do you think it could be even an NXT call up, or do you save that for the next night?
Why is Corbin still wrestling with fucking shirt and a slacks and he's not the fucking GM anymore? God, idiot. Fucking pants back. What's your tights back on, you flabby shit? Sorry, Callum. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Are you good?
No. I mean, I fully agree. I mean, his attire before wasn't the best, but it was certainly an upgrade to his business casual attire.
Oh God, Johnny, what do you think? I know you're. I think
I do have to say, watching Angle the past couple of weeks has just been painful for me, because you could just tell he doesn't have much left. So I think he's going to go out on a high note. I think this match is probably going to be less than a minute, and he's going to go out just as the Angle we remember.
I concur. Nate?
Yeah, Kurt wins. And I think this will probably end up being a buffer match, because really this is just about the entrance and the denouement, the farewell at the end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Maybe we'll do a Kurt. I don't know. Maybe Andy, we can skew our next main event edition of Great Debate. Maybe we'll do some Kurt things. Think about it.
There you go.
Do some Kurt stuff.
Show. I'm just living in it.
That's right. It's my show. It's our show, and you're just paying rent. So yeah, maybe we'll do some Kurt stuff. We gotta honor Kurt. All right, now the match I'm looking most forward to, because it's going to be the longest match because he says so, and it's also no holds barred. So they may pin him at my feet, which would be fucking great. Triple H and Batista, no holds barred. If Triple H loses, he must retire from in-ring competition. We know that's not going to fucking happen. So, funny, 6 years apart, same stip, same match type, Same venue, different wrestler. I'll go for. Obviously, I'll go first. I'm not crazy about no holds barred. That's why I think the Falls Count Anywhere is going to be tough to watch. It's very hard to have that kind of gimmick in an 80,000 seat place because you're going to see them wrestling in like fucking, you know, in the seats and all that shit, and we'll all be looking up at the seat at the screen, and so it will be a little tough. But I think it's going to be a solid match. I think Triple H is going to win to get back for the three, you know, for the trifecta in 2005. Who did I just finish with? Nate, I finished with you. Andy, you go first. Can this match live up to anything, and who wins?
I think it's going to be a spectacle more than anything. I mean, you know, your boy is still the game. I mean, we've got to see how Big Dave is. I mean, how long is Big Dave sticking around? That's the real question. Is this going to be the start of a series?
It's a one and done. No, I think it's a
one-off.
Yeah, I think it's a one and done. My opinion.
Yeah. So I mean, Hunter's got to win. I think it's going to be a mess, kind of. I think no holds barred to me sounds like, you know, weapons are involved. I think we're going to see the sledgehammer.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
But yeah, I think Hunter is going to go over. Dave's going to put on a decent show, but you know he's got to go back to Hollywood and start filming Guardians 3 at some time. So
exactly. Yep.
Yeah. So there you go. That's why I think Mr. Criscola is going to go home very happy.
Woohoo! Callum, what do you think?
Bold prediction: Triple H wins with a Scott Criscola running.
I've been waiting for that for 20 fucking years, Callum. You're a genius. You win. Guess what? You just won another visit on the main event. That's all I wanted to hear. The rest of you can go away. No.
It'll either be like Edge at One Night Stand 2006, or you'll be like Heyman coming in to count the pin.
That's right. I'll wear the motorcycle helmet too.
I think the build up to this one's been brilliant. I think Dave Bautista is the coolest man on the planet. But I think contrary to what everyone else saying, I think Bautista wins. Don't think it'll be the end of Triple H's in-ring career, but I think Bautista wins. I don't think they bring him back to lose.
Do you think this is a multi-match thing though, Callum? Is this Dave just gets the win and leaves, or do you think we get something down the line?
I think if Batista's going to win, it shouldn't be a one and done. I think if you're going to have him win, you would bring him back. You might even stretch it over the year, or do what they did with Rock Cena and have the rematch at SummerSlam and then a third match at Mania next year, or just do the straight rematch next year. But I think if he's gonna win, it should be. I don't think they should do it one and done.
Well, if Batista wins and Triple H never wrestles again. So now I'm thinking maybe I'll never talk to you again, but we'll see.
Stuck? How many times has HBK had his last match or his retirement match, and then we see him again? You know, they could.
Sean?
It's like comic books.
You mean Terry Funk, not Shawn Michaels? You mean Terry Funk?
Yeah.
Triple H retired Mick Foley 19 million times.
That is true.
It's like comic books. They could retcon anytime they want.
That's true. WWE, the new 52. No. All right, Johnny, what do you think? Come on, book this for me, baby. Come on. Do me proud. Come on.
So I definitely think Triple H is going over. I think it's going to be a lot of smoke and mirrors, but in a good way. You know, a lot of I think you're going to see I don't know if you're going to see an evolution run-in, but I think you're going to have some DX involvement. Because considering what's about to happen the night before.
Yep.
But as much as people think it's going to be a mess, it's going to be a mess, but I think it's be a fun mess.
Okay. All right. Nate, what do you think?
Had they not done the Ric Flair angle, I think Batista would win this one. But you can't have that be the story, and then Dave wins, and then goes off to do Suicide Squad 2 and Guardians 3, and he never steps back in the ring again. So, and as on a personal note, if Triple H loses to Batista on the comeback, but he couldn't lose to Sting, I will be feeling some type of way. So, for my own personal mental health and well-being, I'm going to say your boy Triple H wins.
Well, if Batista loses, his wrestling career is over. But then if he does Suicide Squad 2, his movie career might be over too. So who knows?
I don't know. James Gunn's on that one, so I have hope. Is he going to be Killer Shark?
Well, the Arrowverse.
That's a good choice.
All right. Let's get to the title matches. All right, let's do this one quick. The Usos, who just re-signed, taking on the NXT gang, Ricochet and Aleister, and the Bar, and then Knock and Rusev in a fatal four-way for the SmackDown tag straps. Callum, do the Usos keep it?
There's a very, very good chance. I think I put Ricochet and Black as my winner on the picks this morning.
Wow. Okay.
So I think they've been on a bit of a roll since they came in. I think they're still going between the two brands, so this could stick them to SmackDown and just give them a bit of a home. But there is every chance that the Usos could still win, especially given the news that they've re-signed. It gives them an even better chance now.
Okay. Johnny, what do you think?
I think Usos win, but I definitely think Ricochet and Black do not take the pin. They stay protected, and that's your feud coming out of this.
Okay. Nate?
Yeah, Usos retain. I think Ricochet and Black get a good showing. They stay protected, but I think the Usos retain, and coming off of that great moment a couple of weeks ago where they forfeited during the gauntlet match, you're going to need some strong baby faces. So, Jimmy and Jay get to celebrate and paint the town red. Hopefully they'll use a lift this time, though.
Yeah, please. Absolutely. Absolutely. Andy, what do you think?
I think the Usos have some kind of repercussions coming for laying down. So I don't know when that story is going to get told. Yeah. I mean, it could get told on, the SmackDown after Mania. I mean, in my head, I was thinking maybe, an upset, Shinsuke and Rusev take it with somebody like either Sheamus or Cesaro eating the pin to protect, Ricochet, Black, and the Usos. I think the Usos are going to retain, much to Miss McMahon's chagrin, and somebody's got to get punished for Kofi making it to the main event. And I think the Usos might be the ones that suffer that on SmackDown on Tuesday.
Okay. All right. I think I got everybody. Okay. All right. Let's go to the Intercontinental Championship. Bobby Lindsay, defending against Finn Balor. Johnny, who wins, and does Balor come out as the Demon?
Well, I think there's no question you're going to see the Demon, and the Demon doesn't lose, so Finn wins.
Okay. Nate?
Yeah, the Demon's going to be there, and Finn's going to win, and they have completely ruined any potential that they had with Bobby Lashley, so there's that.
I agree. Andy?
Yeah, once we revealed the Demon on Raw, that was it for Lashley. And I agree with Nate. They've really, they've really missed the boat with Lashley's return. I mean, there's been some hints of greatness with them, but he's a project that has to be rebuilt. So I'm going Finn and the Demon.
Okay. Callum?
Totally against everyone else for a change. Balor's got to win. I expect, especially if he's coming out as the Demon. That's going to be there's your one of your WrestleMania moments for the night. Is that entrance? It's going to take about. If it's a 7-hour show, that's going to take about 4 of them.
I'm actually kind of pumped because I think Finn's entrance will replace the fact that we will not have a Taker entrance on Sunday, and I don't think we will have a Taker entrance. There's nowhere for Taker to be here. So, all right.
Could you imagine those two facing each other? You need to have a whole new day.
Thank God the show's 7 hours. I think that will happen at some point. I really do. All right, let's go to the other secondary belt. The United States Championship is on the line. Samoa Joe, your U.S. champion, defending against Rey Mysterio. Nate, what do you think?
Joe retains. I think he's in a good spot right now, and he hadn't had the belt so long. So I think Joe retains. We get a really good match again on a show filled with really good, strong in-ring work. This is going to be near the top of that. And, we get your boy Samoa Joe having his WrestleMania moment.
I think that's possible. Andy?
That is possible, although I don't know if it's going to happen. Reports came out today that Ray hurt himself, his ankle on Raw, so he's questionable. He's going to probably be a day of or day before decision. So if Ray doesn't go, if Ray goes, I think Joe's winning, no question about it. If he doesn't, I think we see an open challenge. And this could be where we see, Mr. Cena answer the challenge. And, and Cena does the right thing. I think Cena would put Joe over on the big stage.
I think Joe's going to, yeah.
I think Joe's walking in with the belt. He's walking out with the belt. It doesn't matter who the opponent is.
Okay.
It's not Ray. It's going to be Dominic, of course. That's the natural right there.
My life on a ladder. Damn it. Callum, what do you think?
Yeah, I think Joe's going to win this one. And I think if Ray doesn't go, then Cena's probably going to be your next in line, as Andy's saying. Because I think I might be making this up completely, but did Cena, was there not a rumor that Cena had asked to face Joe at WrestleMania? Or am I completely making that up?
I didn't hear
It's possible.
Yeah, I know Cena's talked about having a big match with Joe. And if you look at the story with the U.S. title, kind of leading up to it, they were hinting at that with the Truth stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So I think it's very possible you see Cena here. If Ray can't go, which would be a shame, because on any given night, Joe and Ray could be your match of the night easily. So it would be a shame if it couldn't happen. But either way, yeah, Joe's walking out with the belt.
Okay, Johnny.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree with everyone that Joe's winning. I think him and Ray could be a great match. Though I kind of want to see Joe Cena now that we bring it up. And going back a little bit, wasn't Cena one of the guys who was a big proponent of Joe coming to the WWE?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they trained together, didn't they?
Yeah, they're both SoCal guys.
Yeah.
Okay. And UPW and all that.
UPW. Yes. Okay. All right, the Fatal 4-Way for the WWE Women's Tag Title. This is Brother Nate's big match.
Yeah.
The Boston Hug Connection taking on the Divas of Doom. I kind of dig that. Against the Iconics, and of course, Nia and Tamina, which has no nickname. Nate, so you're going to have to come up with one. I have an upset pick here, but we'll see. What do I start with here? Johnny, what do you think?
I do have an upset, I think. I think it's going to be the Divas of Doom.
So Beth Phoenix back full time, huh? You think?
I think Beth is maybe not full time, but at least for a little while. And from what we've seen so far, she doesn't look like she missed a step at all.
Okay, interesting. All right, Nate. Well, never mind. We'll skip you. We know who you like. Get a nickname for them, and then maybe you could pick them. No, go ahead.
This thing is so backwards, because what should have happened is Nia and Tamina, the succulent Samoans, they should let that sink in for a little bit. They should have won at Fastlane, and we should have had Sasha and Bayley chasing. But instead, they went with Sasha and Bayley winning the belt, and so there's nothing there. There's no sizzle to this steak. So I could see anybody winning it. Quite honestly, I could see Nia and Tamina. I could see Beth and Natalya. But I'm gonna go with the team that I think the company likes best in terms of what we can do with this division, and I'm gonna go with the Iconics.
I think you should market that to Pro Wrestling Tees.
I think this will be the character division, because we're gonna have teams like the Iconics, so like Mandy and DeVille. Eventually, we'll get the Sky Pirates up there. So I think this is gonna be kind of the personality bracket of the women's division, whereas the two top titles are gonna be about the in-ring stuff.
Well, it's good that you said succulent because Tamina's about as flexible as a $2 steak. So it's perfect. Andy, what do you think?
Well, this could go in almost. I could see any of these teams walking out. I mean, initially, before they made one of the later matches, winner take all, you could have seen a scenario where all 4 horsewomen were holding belts up at the end of the show. But that's not going to happen. So I could see Nia and Tamina, but don't think that's going to happen. I would love the Iconics to win, but they just got a big win over the champs. But I'm going to go with the Divas of Destruction. I think this is kind of like Natty's. You know, she's been a company girl.
Divas of Doom.
Divas of Doom. Sorry, Divas.
If it was the Divas of Destruction, then Natalia would wear Kane's mask. You should anyway.
That would rough. People like you said earlier. People give Randy Orton shit. People give Natty shit, but she's kind of been like the ring general of the division when it comes to big matches, which is why we see her in certain spots. And she's with the anvil going, I think we give Natty her WrestleMania moment to kind of honor her and her family. And Beth, who doesn't love Beth Phoenix? Mrs. Edge. There you go. But yeah, I think it's going to be Natty and Beth walking out with the belts. Short-term reign, though.
Okay, Callum.
Sorry, I've just been distracted. Conrad Thompson has already got the Succulent Simones on a T-shirt.
Damn, you beat me to it.
I think it's copyright infringement, Nate. I think you should get on him.
Well,
Rumor and innuendo, damn it.
Rumor and innuendo. Got that submission sorority shirt. Got to throw that out.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say the champs retain on this one, but having listened to everyone else's pitch for everyone else other than them, I could see Beth Phoenix and Natalya walking out. I think it would be a WrestleMania feel good moment. We're all about the WrestleMania moment, so yeah, I'll change my pick. I'll go the Divas of Doom for this one.
Okay, I like the icon.
Whatever happens to Mina must eat the pin.
The more that we talk about this, I think it will be Beth and Natalya because Brett will be in the building, and then that's a big moment at the end of the match.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think of that.
And they're going in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
I didn't even think of that. That's a good call. Yeah.
Do they use the heart attack finisher?
Oh yeah.
That would
they've used it at least once already. I know that.
That would be cool. So, all right. The WWE Championship. Daniel Bryan, Kofi Kingston. This is one of those weird matches where you're not quite sure what's on everyone's mind. Andy, I'll start with you. What do you think?
I never thought you'd be rooting against Daniel Bryan in a big match or something. But I got to tell you, Kofi's got to win this. I mean, just like somebody else has got to win that night. But yeah, I mean, it's not going on last, but like you guys were talking about earlier, could you imagine if this was the last show and Kofi doing the little boom with the fireworks in sync outside of MetLife Stadium, where people going down the turnpike, even they would know Kofi won because like, oh, that's the boom. So yeah, I'm going Kofi. This is your big, huge moment. I say this could even be your opener. Or it could. Yeah, I mean, start off big. They got to spread out the 3 big championship matches, and I don't see Brock Seth opening, and the women are ending. So I see Brock Seth going middle to last third of the card. So I definitely see this in the first third of the card, if it's not the opener. But yeah, it's your man Kofi for the win.
Okay. All right. Callum?
Well, I was just when Andy was saying, could you imagine booing Daniel Bryan? If you thought back to the start of last year, to be told that this year's WrestleMania, Daniel Bryan would be 1 in the ring, 2, the champion, and 3, getting booed, you would have, like, nobody would have believed you. I think Kofi's going to win. I think Kofi has to win, but, you know, I think we've all been burned one too many times with, excuse me, this sort of thing. So we should maybe know a wee bit better. Oh, excuse me. But yeah, Kofi to win for me.
Johnny, this match is right up your alley.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely think Kofi has to win. I agree with everyone else. We already went, but I will say I think as far as match quality, this match is going to tear the house down.
Nate, your boy, getting pancakes. I want to catch a pancake.
First of all, in terms of the placement on the card, I think what they're going to do if they're smart is use each of the 3 big title matches to end the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th hours of the show. So obviously Becky and Ronda and Charlotte in the show. I think you could do Brock and Seth at the end of the 2nd hour, and maybe Kofi and Daniel at the end of the 3rd hour. So that way you kind of got a flow to each hour of this marathon.
Yes.
But in terms of this match, like everybody said, Kofi has to win it, not only because the fans are so behind him, but the story dictates it. And I don't think, you know, Scott, you and I have talked about that Booker T Triple H match from years gone by, and how the story dictated that Booker T should have won that match.
Right.
And I think the story of this guy that's been here for 11 years and has had all these obstacles and never got his chance, never got his shot, I think they have to culminate it with him winning at WrestleMania. Because, I mean, it'll be cool if he wins it somewhere else down the line, but if you want the maximum impact of this moment, you give it to him at WrestleMania. And you got a lot of opponents lined up for him after that, because not only do you have the rematch with Bryan, you've got a Randy Orton feud with Kofi as champ that I think could be money. You've also got all those guys he beat in the gauntlet match. And you've eventually, perhaps, potentially got Kofi versus Big E. So I think this is the time to do this. This is the time to pull the trigger. And other than Becky winning, I believe this is going to be the biggest pop you hear on the show on Sunday night.
Yeah, I concur. I think Kofi is going to win. And I think it'll be right around 10 o'clock. Yeah, I think you're right. All right. The other belt, the Universal Championship. Brock Lesnar defends against Seth Rollins, the winner of the Rumble. Callum, could they hold things off here? Is Seth going to be... will he not burn it down? Or will he burn the place down if he loses? I don't know. But what do you think here?
This is a difficult one. I think Seth is going to win, but they could pull what they did last year, because I think they've got another Saudi show coming up. So you give maybe Rollins the win on the Saudi show, because you've got to get Brock out there. I don't know. That could be where that might be where you do your Roman Brock match if Brock loses. Make it, but that's another story for when in the run up to it. But I think Rollins wins, because he's another popular guy. He's been popular since he's been on a roll really since the gauntlet last year. Seems to be their new method of getting guys over. Because it works. But yeah, I think Rollins wins this one.
Okay, Johnny.
I think I'm gonna have to go with Brock on this one, especially if they're thinking about doing Roman Brock further down the line. They're not going to take the title off him.
Okay, Nate.
I'm going to give you boys a little history lesson here. Let's go all the way back to the 4th century.
Oh Jesus!
Persia was at the height of its power. Persia had everything clear to become a dominant force in the world. The only thing that kept Persia out of that top spot was the Roman Empire. Seth Rollins is Persia. The only thing keeping him away from this crowning moment is Roman Reigns' return sooner than anybody thought. I think it's going to be a decent match, but Brock will retain because in a world where Roman Reigns is back, that's where Vince wants to go. And I don't think it's going to, like, Roman's win over Brock is not going to have the same impact if Seth beats Brock and then Brock gets it back and then Roman wins. It's going to be like that time in Impact where they were building to AJ and Bully Ray, and Chris Sabin had that 2-month reign.
Yep,
and it derailed the AJ Bully Ray story. So I think Brock's going to win.
That's a good comparison. I agree. Andy?
I think it all depends on where Brock is going. I mean, if he's going away for a while, I mean, I could realistically see Brock going away and then not showing up again till, SmackDown Live premieres on Fox, possibly being that big return. I think, even though he's sleeping now, for my son, I got to go with Rollins. He's a big mark. People are going to hear him scream, "Burn it down," all the way here in Connecticut from MetLife. So, yeah, I got to go Rollins for my son. I do think Seth has been probably for the last year and a half been the top guy in the ring. And I think he's earned the belt. And, Roman will be back, but Roman doesn't need to be back right now. Roman is almost like Cena-esque, where he doesn't have to be the champion to matter. I mean, he could get, and if Brock is still around and Brock loses, they could still book him in Saudi. And so Roman gets his rematch, and he goes over in Saudi this time. Unfortunately, it's not for the belt, but, we'll cross that bridge there.
Okay. I have a feeling we're going to see Brock win this match too. And finally,
just before we move on, when Brock won in Saudi, it was clearly just because Roman wasn't there and it was going to be the holding pattern. Well, to me, it was anyway. Do you think, because it might be in the middle of the card, do you think they do something like WrestleMania 9 and Roman walks out as champion now that he's back? I don't see it being. I don't particularly think it's a good idea. I think you let Roman sort of just keep going as he's going just now, and then when he wins the title back, that's going to be another great moment in itself. But I can see that potentially them doing something like that.
The only reason I say no is because I don't think they want to take any super moments from Kofi and or the winner of our last match. So I think that might get a little too. That's like crazy moment overkill. No, I don't think. I think the last thing that WWE wants to do is have Roman overshadow anybody, because that could get ugly.
Or Roman get overshadowed, because that's their guy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I think he'll just. I don't think we'll see anything like that, at least on this show. But we'll see. All right, and finally, and we'll dive right into the win, and because we've talked enough about it. Last match of the night, Ronda with her girl Joan Jett playing her theme, which is gonna be so fucking cool.
Yeah.
Charlotte, Becky. I think I'm going to assume we're all in unison that Becky's going to win. I'm going to go around the horn and ask the question. I'll start with you, Johnny. Does Ronda tap?
She does not tap. She does get pinned, though.
Okay. Could this be a Meltzer 8-star?
No, I think it's going to be a good match, but I don't foresee it being that high.
Okay. Nate, Ronda eat the pin?
No. Ronda is not going to take the loss in this match. Part of the reason Charlotte was inserted into this match, along with all of her bona fides and what she brings to this feud, is Charlotte can absorb a loss. And I think we're going to see Charlotte tap Becky. And Becky tap Charlotte, and get the big moment, get the big win, because they still want to protect Ronda. She's the biggest star in their eyes. She's getting the Joan Jett entrance. Joan Jett singing the second best song in history with the words "Bad Reputation" in it. The first, of course, the Kanye West song "Bound 2." I know I got a bad reputation. Walking around always mad reputation. Leave a pretty girl sad reputation. I might start a fight club, Brad reputation, which is a masterful line, and it's going to be a masterful night for one Becky Balboa.
Indeed. Andy.
Yeah. I'm going Becky, and Charlotte is the one that, either taps or eats the pin. Ronda is going to, walk out. I don't know if she's going away for a while again, but as better as Ronda has been as a heel, I think she's got to come back as a Paul Heyman girl. I think, Heyman's got, and I think Heyman needs more people. We're not going to we're not going to dilute him, but he needs, I don't say he needs a stable, but he needs at least one more person to come out with, because, we need Paul Heyman. And also, I got to say, you can definitely tell, I think he was responsible for this segment, that whole segment on Raw with the three of them getting arrested. I think that says Bruce Pritchard all over.
It absolutely has Bruce Pritchard all over. No, there's no doubt about it.
Start seeing his fingerprints.
Yeah. Anytime you see cars and windows kicked out, that's got Southern Wrestling written all over it.
Yeah.
No doubt about that.
But long story short, Becky and Charlotte's the one that does the job.
Okay. Callum?
Becky 316 all over. I was almost going to do a really bad Irish accent, but I'll save you all from that. I think since Nate's girl broke her nose just before Survivor Series, it's been a stick on that she's winning. I think Charlotte's the one that takes the pin. I think you go the Ronda loses a title without getting pinned, you've got an immediate rematch whenever. Yep. If she's going to take this hiatus, then you've got straight away, you've got a big money rematch there. Becky over Charlotte.
All right. I like Becky, but I got to be honest, I don't think it'll have the same, and this might just be my opinion, but I don't think it has the same cachet if it's Charlotte. I think it has to be Ronda. I don't think there's any I don't think there's any choice. It's got to be Ronda. I don't think it has the same feel if it's Charlotte, because Becky's already beaten Charlotte. This is Ronda. It's about her and Ronda. Now, the only way I would see this happen is if we have a Ronda-Becky rematch down the line and they get there one-on-one. Then maybe, kind of like a Taker-Steve at SummerSlam 98 kind of thing. Then maybe I could see it. Otherwise,
I think that's going to be one of the big programs that they highlight when they come back for Fox, because I think Ronda's going to take this break, and you're obviously going to put her on the new A show on Fox for SmackDown. So I think that's going to be the big feud in October, or one of the big feuds.
Right. All right. Well, gentlemen, thank you once again. Another WrestleMania preview show is in the books. We'll be back in 1 week because, of course, we took 2 weeks off. We'll be back next week for the WrestleMania postmortem show. We'll talk about the weekend, what happened, and then we'll also get into what will happen the following night on Raw and SmackDown Live from Brooklyn. I think they're both at Barclays, and see what happens. We'll also talk about, of course, the show, the ROH New Japan show at the Garden Saturday night, and the ramifications of that. Will Okada win back the New Japan Heavyweight Championship? For Johnny Reckless, Johnny, don't be a stranger. You're coming back soon. Callum McDougal, you just won another contest because you said that I was going to run in and win the triple match for Triple H. So you already won another appearance on Main Event. So you're good. You're the best. Andy Atherton, I'll see you this weekend. Yeah. And he'll be back you won't be on the postmortem. You'll be back the episode after that when we're back to our normal regular groove for Great Debate. So for the Main Event Great Debate.
Yep.
And Brother Nate, I'll talk to you next week. Steve Willie will be back, and we'll talk about the postmortem. We have a couple of extra guests. I won't say who, but we'll have some guests that I'll be seeing this weekend, and they'll give their opinions on the weekend as well. So
if they can remember.
yeah, that's absolutely for sure. For Andy Atherton, Callum McDougal, and Johnny Reckless, and of course Nate, and of course Steve, I'm Brother Scott. This has been the Main Event. Enjoy the weekend, whether you're there or at home on TV. And we'll talk to you next week to put it up in a neat bow. MetLife awaits. Have a good week.
Hey, Scott.
Yes, Brother Nate.
Do you know why they're having WrestleMania in New York, New Jersey, instead of in the Bahamas this year?
I don't know, Nate. Why?
because with Kofi Kingston there, it'd be trouble in paradise. Oh,